Hiya, I'm a Zamen and fan games are awesome. Plus, I like Pokemon, so let's dive into one. But not like one of those newer releases like Infinite Fusions or Pokerogue. I don't think those are very new anymore. This script has been in development for about half a year now. Instead, I want to take a look at an older game that has been in development for quite a while. The edgy, dorky, but very well made Pokémon Reborn, set in Reborn City, a dark, smog-filled slum and crime-ridden city that is decaying at its core. We follow our trainer on their journey to conquer all 18 gyms of the Reborn League, while getting caught up in a conflict against actual, genuine, violent criminals. It's up to the protagonists to stop them and bring Reborn back to prosperity. Add onto that a huge cast of memorable characters, gripping plots, challenging battles, a whole new field system, every Pokemon from Gens 1 through 7, an absolute banger of a soundtrack made by the super sick Glitch X City, and you get an exceptionally good game that I would recommend you play. But only if you like challenging games, because Reborn will kick your ass in the best way. So, this video will go through my adventure in Reborn, taking you through the story, the battles, and my experience. All that preamble out of the way, let's dive into Pokémon Reborn. Chapter 1, A Ruined City. This is my protag. He's Edwin, my name. I'm a trainer in my late teens or early 20s. I'm arriving by train to challenge the Reborn Pokémon League. Aboard we meet Amethyst, the game's developer, the woman in charge of the Reborn League. She explains a few things about the region, but suddenly a mysterious being appears behind us, and Amethyst bolts into action, grabbing me and leaping out the train's window, escaping as a bomb goes off and destroys the train station and the surrounding neighborhood. Every other playable trainer dead, Amethyst tells me to head west and find Grand Station Hall. She'll sort out the situation here and give me my first Pokemon later. With that, I start moving, and off the bat, the theme of Reborn City, which you're hearing now, is moody and dour, in a way that feels like you're hustling down a dirty street, which captures the vibe of Reborn City pretty well. Looking around, yeah, this place looks pretty not great, even before the explosion. Heading down the street, I cut across a few pressed citizens mourning the new train-based tragedy. My favorite being this woman who says her fiancé was aboard the train, before silently looking at the polluted water. When I reach the Grand Hall, I'm given one of the hardest choices imaginable. Pick a starter. Options are from Gen 1 through 7. 21 total options. I eventually settle on a Froakie because, well, I've never played X and Y and only ever used Ash Greninja from the Sun and Moon demo. So, meet my partner, Gaiden. Heading out, I encounter my two rivals, the ever cool and calm Victoria and the flirty funny man Kane. Naturally, I partake in the traditional starting battle. Twice, I win both. After that, I'm left to my own devices to catch some Pokemon and challenge the first gym. As I'm heading out, I'm stopped by a fisherman who asks if I'd like to purchase a rare, badass Pokemon for $500. And since that is only half my current net worth, I do it. But, right after paying for it, a vagrant approaches and steals my Mon, beginning a side quest that will end in about 70 hours. Traversing through the Peridot and Opal wards of Reborn, fighting homeless people, street tops, and general meanies the whole way through. So for the most part, it's just me and Gaiden versus the world. Speaking of worlds, I really feel that Pokémon Reborn captures the sense of scale of a city, or I guess a neighborhood for these first two areas. Because when first exploring them, they feel quite big and spacious, but once you get used to it, you do realize just how small they are in the best way. Eventually, I stumble across this guy Fern, who's strong-arming one of the criminals responsible for the train bombing. But my presence results in the guy getting away, and I end up battling Fern because he's pissed at me for ruining his interrogation. I win, and then as recompense, I help Fern storm Team Meteor's base, which along the way reveals that the terrorists are called Team Meteor. They all kinda wear this big M on their clothes. Here I end up meeting his older sister and gym leader Florina, and also Julia, the electric gym leader, who in another life was likely a terrorist. She clears a path for us to arrive at the control center of the space, where I encounter Admin Sirius, who, I'll be honest, looks really silly and a little out of place. Drip aside, he calls me weak and says that Team Meteor are the keepers of history, and the shepherds of the region. He calls our actions pointless because they've already purged their data from this base. But Florinia hits him with the, actually, we remotely hacked you and already got everything. To which he decides he's gonna kick our asses. And he and another admin battle the two gym leaders, while Fern and I tangle with Aster and Eclipse, two recurring grunts who I quite like. I kick their dogs. Following their defeat, Team Meteor smoke bombs out, Julia rigs the base to explode, we all escape, and now I'm challenging Julia's gym. She's the electric gym leader, and this was my team. So, odds are it should be fine. She's gonna have like one, maybe two Pokemon. So, oh dear god. Yeah, so every gym leader in this game has 6 Pokemon, and if you look at the background, you can see that we are currently in electric terrain. All gym leaders battle you on a terrain/field that gives them an inherent advantage, because their teams are built around that terrain, or field as it's called. And in my first attempt, I only took out 3 of her Mons, and proceeded to get beat for an hour straight. But rather than slamming my head against the wall, this time, I came up with a plan, and got my hands on a Swinub to nullify electric attacks. And then I gave my guidance, Froakie, a pill I found in the dumpster. That gave the little guy his hidden protein ability. With these two and a Sharibi, I'm actually able to barely eke by a win. I'm granted the Volt badge, which while giving me the power to cut, also increased my max level cap to 25. Yeah, for Pokémon Reborn, the level cap is something you really need to keep track of, because when you overlevel, your Mons only have like a 50% chance of following your orders. Thankfully, there are common candies to lower their levels, and I use those quite a bit. Leaving the gym, Victoria reappears, and she then enlists me in helping save Obsidia Ward that's been overrun by rampaging plant life. I accept, and on our way there, I discover one of my best allies throughout this whole journey, Ozaru, the shiny Mankey, who instantly proves his worth by taking on a gang of Scraggy by himself who happen to be guarding this glorious egg that hatches into another mighty warrior, Esperoba, the future Bronzong. After that, Victoria and I arrive at Obsidia Park where the source of all this chaos can be found. Florinia is here, and there's also another gym leader, Amaria, the water type specialist, who is just a beacon of sunshine. All of us decide to split up because the park's not that big. What's the worst that could happen? Oh hey, there's Team Meteor. These guys are around every corner. Though even after beating them, they don't seem to be concerned, only alluding to something called a pulse? A few battles later, I'm able to witness Victoria being kidnapped by Agent Borealis, the guy in charge of whatever's going on here. While kidnapping her, Borealis just tears into her and basically calls her stupid for splitting up and just delusional for thinking that anyone could play hero in a city as terrible as Reborn. He leaves with Victoria, so the objective has shifted. I charge further into the park after him, only to run into yet another problem. Both Amaria and Florinia have been captured. By a crazy person? This is Zero, Eve. They are a single body with 3 different minds inside, and they are in my way, because behind them is a machine called a pulse. According to Zell, or the Lumi part, Eve built it, and this machine basically forces a Pokemon to go beyond its limits, kind of like a forced Mega Evolution. Anyway, I engage Zell in a 1-on-3 battle. Lily's only got 1 Pokemon, and it's a Tangrowth. Hiya, cooler looking Zamen here. So, fun fact, back in the day, like a decade ago, when I first played this game, this was the furthest I got. And then no further because, well, a Mega Tangrowth, it's just so tanky. Like, look at these base stats, 200 defense and 160 in special defense. I am barely level 20. This, like many battles in Reborn, isn't something I can win with brute force, so I just gotta be one annoying bastard. It's called Mud Slap and Confuse Ray. Thanks to Esperoba, this thing never hit me, which allowed Gaiden, the now Frogadier, to finish the battle with Cut. Which, fun fact, this battle occurs on the forest field, which powers up Cut, securing me the W. Though with post-Tangrowth's defeat, the destructive power of nature is quelled, and Zell yells at themselves before saying this won't be the last time we meet, and they escape. Now with the two gym leaders freed, we can focus on the next pressing issue. Victoria. She's still kidnapped. Florinia says that she and Amaria will look into it, and then advises that, my attendance at her gym will be expected at my earliest convenience. So the grass gym is my next stop, and here I am. As you can tell, I am cutting down on travel time as much as I can, because when I play Pokemon, I literally talk to everything. The grass gym is actually a school, and upon stepping inside, I encounter Fern, the guy who stormed the factory with me. He was a little rude, but he didn't seem that bad. Wonder what he's got to say. Oh, he's kind of insulted that Florinia, his older sister, brought me to resolve that crazy foliage issue in Obsidia Ward, instead of him. Then he brings up how Victoria got kidnapped as a show of my incompetence, claiming that while he doesn't care about me or Florinia, it's a matter of pride. So, yeah, he does care. A lot, actually. He locks me out of the gym, and has his underlings do everything in their power to keep me out. But, come on. My determination will see me through. Half an hour later, I'm already in his face, all his goons beaten. He says he knew I wouldn't listen, calls me a loser, and then tells me not to take it seriously, because I only made it this far through luck and pity. The battle ensues, and this is, without a doubt, 100% the hardest Fern fight in the game. No question. For me. Because I was very stubborn and unwilling to adapt. So, Fern is 3 Pokemon, a weak Sandile, a fast and armed Roselia, and the tankiest Dartrix in the world. This was not great. I have about an hour of footage of solely this fight. His Roselia, it's so tanky. I only beat it by heal stalling it out of PP. With his defeat, Fern is disgusted. He says the battle didn't prove anything. My skill and his skill are on a similar level. So to prove his superiority, he'll just take on the Reborn Pokemon League too. He leaves, and now nothing stands between me and Florinia, who is actually much easier. She doesn't use a field that innately boosts grass-type damage, it's actually more of a ground-type boosting field. And my team is able to pretty reliably take down her team, but it's her ace that's the problem. Dolly here really likes to set up with Stockpile, and I apparently like helping her set up, because in this fight I had my Gloom try to poison powder it 4 turns in a row. I missed 3 times. And on the 4th time, it was revealed that grass types are immune to powder moves. Oh hey, she set up a sandstorm. That's another defensive buff. This thing's at a +6 in defenses, so it looks quite hopeless. But I can still see a thread towards victory. I swapped Gaiden, used Lick, get a paralysis, and then I sent an Ozaru, the shiny Mankey, to prove his worth by spamming Karate Chop and Cross Chop. Here I am just making for back-to-back crits, and lo and behold, my flawless strategy guides me to a very, very narrow victory. Gaining my 2nd badge, Amaria then bursts in saying that Agent Borealis has been sighted in Beryl Ward, meaning now there's a lead on Victoria's whereabouts. I go there, meet a screaming child named Heather and her father Corey. They get into an argument, Heather storms off, her father pursues, and he calls me a degenerate. I had to mention that. Beryl Ward has been greatly damaged by the plant growth, and as I'm investigating, I accept a side quest to find 5 missing police officers, which leads me to Team Meteor in the forest, and Heather, that kid, asks if I want to fight bad guys. Naturally, cause I want to appear cool, I tell her, yeah. Roping me into a big ol' battle inside this decommissioned gym where, upon breaking in, I'm confronted by a Pulse Tangrowth and Admin Taka, who's pretty chill. He doesn't express any anger over me being here. Instead, he kinda just accepts it and even acknowledges that what's going on is wrong, saying how this Tangrowth has caused so much damage. And it's been forced to do this. It doesn't want to do this. Taka says that he would like to let it go, but he can't. He's a part of Team Meteor, and has me surrounded by grunts. Before I can engage in a premature 1v4, I'm saved by Heather and her Salamence. She takes on the grunts, and I take the chance to destroy the pulse, along with Taka, which I do pretty easily. My whole team kind of just chips it down, and then I send in a monkey. With the pulse defeated, the whole gym starts to collapse, so I clamber onto Heather's Salamence, we fly out, but I get a scene of the grunts and Taka taking special notice of a ruby ring that Heather wears around her neck. Landing outside the gym, Heather and I start to celebrate only to be interrupted by her father, Corey, who is quite pissed and sets off about how worried he was, admonishing Heather by bringing up her mother only to stop when Heather retaliates by angrily yelling that Corey never talks about her mother, won't explain why the ruby ring is so important. Corey says that everything he does is to protect her, but Heather just claims that she doesn't need protection because she was able to beat Team Meteor, a reveal that causes Corey to grow pale, and all he can ask is, did they see the ring? But Heather doesn't care anymore, and she boards her Salamence and flies off. Corey just turns to me and says, "Leave. Never speak to me or my daughter ever again." I leave and go to Jasper Ward, where it's the same story. Overgrown plants are tearing the place apart, so I go to the nearby jungle where a pulse could be set up, start my investigation, and hey look, a Pokeball! I'm then forced to sit and contemplate how my greed led to this. Fern appears after a bit, and when I ask him to help me out, he has me beg and repeat the following.
Ahem. I, Edwin, admit that I am an inferior trainer, battler, and person to Fern. Furthermore, I, Edwin, swear that I will never get in Fern's way again because I'm not worth the time it takes for him to step on me. Finally, Edwin fully embraces the fact that I will never be anywhere remotely cool, stylish, popular, or talented, or good-looking, or likable as Fern.
I do it. It doesn't mean anything. He's a loser. And getting out is more important. Though, next time I beat Fern, he'll probably be molding, like, extra hard. Harder than he was throughout that whole chat. Freed from that, I end up encountering the wonderful Kane, who also fell into a pit trap. I free him, we regroup with Heather, and then promptly split up to track down Team Meteor, where I end up in a library and discover a deceased police officer here. The floor caused the ground to give way, and he tumbled to his death. His Growlithe has been looking over his body, staying with her friend until the end. And with my help, the pupper is brought to safety. Returning to the police station, I'm rewarded with something a little macabre. That Growlithe I just mentioned, she is joining my party as my team's de facto number 2, right behind Gaiden. Meet Commissioner, the intimidated Growlithe after popping a dumpster pill. She is with me throughout the entire game and is always useful. Intimidate is a top tier. With her, it's time to wreck another pulse deep inside the jungle. I find a pulse guarded by Zell, Agent Borealis, and Taka. However, I am not alone, as Amaria, the water-type gym leader, is here. Alongside Fern, Kane, and Heather with her Salamence. Things are looking real grim for Team Meteor's higher-ups, so to deal with Heather, they call upon this green-haired woman, Lin, who I'll get very acquainted with down the line. With the stage set, a 5-way battle begins as I engage the pulse and overcome it with a very, very lucky Ice Beam freeze. But I can't celebrate yet, because as soon as I win my battle, Heather loses hers. That Lin woman utterly defeats her and sends Heather flying back into the pulse, knocking the child out. Immediately, Agent Borealis rushes to her side, abandoning his fight with Amaria, sending his Crobat to fly Heather away. He lashes out at Lin for attacking a child, but this Lin chick doesn't care. Instead, she claims that Borealis has already cost them the machine and is acting like a turncoat since he's taping one of their enemies. She then prepares to attack Borealis. Amaria rushes in, telling him and I to start running while she holds off Lin. I take off with Borealis, only for it to be a trap. Thanks to my efforts in locating those missing police officers, they had just enough manpower to try and arrest Borealis, who they unmask and reveal him as Corey, the father of Heather. Even still, Corey manages to escape and I pursue him to the abandoned poison-type gym, where inside he tells me that he doesn't blame me for what happened. It's only natural for someone to try and oppose Team Meteor. He says that he does everything for Heather, and she's the one sliver of hope in his life, but he's failed at that. So now, in what he calls his last few moments of freedom, he challenges me to a battle. A battle to see if I'm worthy of my strength. A battle to test my resolve. A battle to see if I'm able to face the cruelty of what is real. I accept. Corey does not hold back. This battle occurs in the corrosive mist field, so his poison types get a pretty hefty boost, and all non-poison types are immediately poisoned at the end of their first turn. So there's no switching in this fight. Everyone stays on till death. Simple as that. Hyper offense is my path to victory. After I defeat Corey, he says it's better this way, because Admin Sirius will know of his betrayal and will attempt to use Heather to control him. The real reason for this battle was to see if I was capable of protecting Heather. Before I can explain further, Heather bursts in and lays into her dad, calling him a neglectful failure who never talks to her, and finally says that she's leaving. Corey calmly tells Heather to protect her mother's ring, and watches her leave. He then turns to me and tells me to come to Barrel Bridge for a show. Immediately, I book it for the bridge, but when I step outside, I'm met with an Absol, a bad omen. When I get to Barrel Bridge, I find Corey releasing all of his Pokemon. He turns to me and explains his story. Over a decade ago, he purchased a beautiful ruby ring and used that ring to propose to his wife. After she gave birth to Heather, Admin Sirius killed her to get the ruby ring. When Corey found this out, he went a little mad and, in his own words, carved Sirius up and retrieved the ring. But the triumph ended there, as Heather was then turned into a bargaining piece. To protect Heather's newly born life, he agreed to work for Team Meteor and was allowed to even keep the ruby ring. But now that doesn't matter. Heather's become an active threat to Team Meteor. She hates him and could be anywhere now. If he were to try and partner up with me or Reborn's police, he'd be a lousy ally, because he's already betrayed us. No one could trust him, and Heather could easily make him switch sides again, which only puts her in danger. So he only sees one path forward. Corey tells me this: Edwin, Heather has the ring. She will be hunted for it. Please, watch over her for me. With that, Corey takes a step backwards and plummets off the bridge, and then Fern arrives, claiming this was natural selection, calling him a moron. Fern leaves after an explosion catches his attention, leaving me with my thoughts. Cooler looking Zamen here. When I first got to this scene, I knew I was playing something special. This scene filled me with a resolve to see the game through to the end. I wanted to honor Corey's wish, and I'm gonna absolutely kick Fern's ass. I can't stand for someone's troubled life to be so easily tarnished and looked down upon. So first things first, I want to make sure Corey's body is taken care of. So I go to Lapis Ward next. In Lapis Ward, I reunite with Corey, his remains. As it turns out, his actions caused a bit of a spectacle, and now the bug-type gym leader, Shelly, is horrified by the sight of his body. But she doesn't have to be horrified for long, as the mysterious being who saved me at the very start of the game warps Corey's body away using their dark powers. According to Shelly, that's Shade, the ghost-type gym leader. As I process that, Kane shows up and asks me to do a big favor. He wants to investigate that terrorist attack that I ignored. I kind of walked past it. It's this big hole in front of this thing called the Grand Staircase. Apparently Team Meteor wants something within it, so I should go figure that out. Retracing my steps, Kane creates a diversion, and I'm able to rush past the police barricade into the hole. There I begin to navigate this pretty crystal cave. Going deeper, I eventually arrive at a structure where a man in a trench coat stands before a sealed doorway. For some reason, he explains that Reborn City was built atop the origin of all creation. For this reason, he despises all of Reborn for basically desecrating this holy land. He explains that there are 4 keys that keep the door to the origin of creation locked. Keys of Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Amethyst. He tells me to share this knowledge with the world and leave with Victoria. Remember her? This girl? She got kidnapped back in the park where I fought the first pulse? Yeah, a little to the left, and here she is, with the recurring grunts, Aster, and Eclipse, guarding her. Naturally, a fight breaks out. I'm ready to go 6v12, but somehow Victoria from behind bars joins in on the fight, with an appropriately leveled team. This fight is not very tough. Victoria pulls her weight. When the battle's over, Eclipse is molding because why did Victoria have her Pokemon while being trapped in a cell? Answer, Corey. Victoria explains that Corey let her keep her team and told her to wait for the right moment, so she's just been secretly grinding them while down here. Aster and Eclipse just leave, and Victoria and I follow suit, returning to the world above. Instantly, she challenges me to a battle. Victoria wants to see where she currently stands and what she can learn from because she's frustrated that she was immediately captured like some kind of damsel. So I agree to her request. After some switching, I'm able to equal win. It wasn't very hard, but Victoria's psyched about it, thanking me for this lesson. She's not surprised she lost, being captured for a while will do that, but we're then interrupted as Fern appears, calling our battle an absolute snooze. And then, with Victoria's attention, he whips out the Riz. I don't believe we've met.
That's your loss. Name's Fern, cool cat, top dog. You know how it is. You may be easy in battle, but you're easier on the eyes.
Excuse me?
Oh, come on, smile. It's a compliment, lady. What do you say we hang out sometime? Just you and me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Your loss. I can't imagine you get too much attention over that giant forehead of yours.
He then whips around and starts flexing his ego, rejecting a battle with Victoria because she's not worth his time and is completely beneath him. Victoria is in shock at his personality and decides that I should fight Fern before she physically beats his ass. What follows is a drawn-out battle where I dismantle Fern's team by paralyzing his Dartrix and confusion spamming it, intimidating down his Rhyhorn to one-shot with Guidance, setting up Sunny Day to get my Sherry to bloom and nearly KO the Kukurok. Then I dishonorably potion-stalled Fern's Roserade, because the last time I saved was before freeing Victoria. All of these fights were back-to-back, and I did not want to reload my save. Plus, fuck 'em. With the battle won, Fern calls me out on my crap, saying I only won the fight cause I'm cheap, which for that fight, Rosalia specifically, real. And then he starts to walk away as he just insults us. Victoria leaves while I head off to go get my next gym badge. But upon entering, I am assaulted by a very angry redhead. This is Cal, one of my favorite characters. He's very strong, and uses a fire team that's supported by the sun. I won by just cancelling Sunny Day with a Rainy Day, and then stalling up the rainbow that formed before mollywopping him into submission. Victoria then shows up and talks for me, allowing Cal to explain why he's so pissed. Answer, Fern. He apparently bullied the bug-type gym leader so hard during their gym battle that she was reduced to a pile of tears that did not fight back midway through the battle. I let Cal know that I kicked Fern's ass, so he instantly becomes chill and invites me in. Inside, I meet Shelly, the gym leader, and she's just a kid. Yeah, she's still not doing so hot after watching Corey's body hit the ground, but Cal recognizes that since me, him, and Victoria aren't trained therapists, we should go find one. Luckily, there's one in Lapis Ward named Dr. Connell who runs an orphanage. So I take a visit to his orphanage and meet a whole new cast of characters. And these guys are uber important, specifically this first one, Anna. A girl around Heather's age with a Jirachi plushie who she claims is very much alive and is a super special magical guardian. Sure kid. Sure. We also have her brother Noel, he's a bit boring, and there's this pink-haired girl, Charlotte, who reveals that both her and Noel are gym leaders, which, cool. Charlotte's like 16, she's under 18, Shelly's a kid, Noel's also a little kid. It just makes me wonder what the vetting process is for Reborn's gym leaders. I guess that just means Amethyst is cool with child labor. As I get to know these kids, I realize that I have made a terrible mistake. Apparently, Dr. Connell administers painful electroshock therapy on all of his patients, regardless of condition. And by this point, I have already made an appointment for him to check up on Shelly. But before that happens, I'm able to battle Shelly as she's recovered a bit on her own. So one pretty solid puzzle later, I battle her in a double battle, where the answer is just to target down one side while leaving the second side paralyzed. Also, physical attacks, cause Shelly spammed Struggle Bug that reduces spectral attack. Oh, and Rock Slide. Yeah, Rock Slide kinda wins me the third badge. With my third badge in hand, Dr. Connell arrives, and while at first things seem normal, they gradually escalate because Connell is an asshole who riles up Cal while claiming he's doing nothing of the sort, resulting in Cal accidentally striking Shelly. Cal immediately leaves, disgusted with himself. Victoria and I follow, where Victoria decides to take Cal to Apophil Academy, a place where he can learn to calm and control himself. After he's gone, Heather shows up. Kane too, and Heather begins to talk about how she's glad her parents are both dead now. But at the mention of an unsupervised child, Dr. Connell immediately abducts her, or as he calls it, adopts her, against her will, literally grabbing and dragging Heather away. Naturally, I don't support child kidnapping and or trafficking, so I resolve to bust her out with Kane and Shelly's help. The next day, as we try to open the door, Kane and Shelly find it locked, but once I try to get it open, the door seems to have been unlocked the whole time. Oh, never mind. It was Anna. She saw my glowy aura past the door and then unlocked it. Anyway, it seems I may have arrived too late because Heather is already undergoing shock treatment. Treatment that only worsens due to Connell's mood. Orderlies then arrive to try and kick us out, but I push past them, deciding that since I'm here, I might as well bust out Charlotte, Noelle, and Anna, because this guy is literally abusing all of them. Kane stays on the first floor to hold off any reinforcements, while Shelly and I ascend the clinic. Looking through a few files, I learned that Dr. Connell uses shock treatment to try and fix anyone who's neurotypical. He's disgusting. On the top floor, we find a traumatized Heather who refuses to speak after her electroshock torture. Connell then has the audacity to try and claim the moral high ground here, and justifies his actions. Charlotte thankfully puts him in his place, and he just gloats at us, saying he's already called the police. That doesn't matter though, as we all run out and decide to regroup in the underground rail system. However, as we leave, it turns out the police did not arrive. Instead, Team Meteor arrived, and Dr. Connell has just been recruited. Chapter 2: Runaway Kids. In the Underground Railway, we decide to run to the home of Charlotte's sister, but to get there we need to get past this locked door that can only be opened by me powering on a power plant, which also happens to be the next gym. At the abandoned power plant, it's dark and the light flickers, the entire atmosphere shifts, it's uneasy. There, I feel like I'm being watched and judged. There, I'm subjected to visions of 4 separate grisly deaths. Deaths of people who I don't even know. When I reach the control room, I encounter Shade, the ghost-type gym leader. He says nothing, and we battle. He's not too difficult despite leading with Corey, but Gaiden the Greninja can beat Corey once again thanks to Protean. Most of his team goes down easily except for his Rotom, which gets fought alongside a metric ton of lemonade. I win eventually. With Shade defeated, he cryptically says,
"Abyss favors the Forsaken,"
and hands me the Omen badge. With his voice, he powers on the generator and shows me a vision of the kids in the railway getting kidnapped by Team Meteor. Kane does manage to escape. I also get to see that green-haired woman again, Lin, the woman who beat Heather Salamence. She's been promoted from a private to an agent. Returning back to me, Shade says that
"Dying souls offer the key to my gain. Let them not suffer to poison in vain,"
and disappears. Not wasting any time, I book it to the railnet. But in front of the police station, I find Kane and Amaria, both of which have a lead on Team Meteor. Courtesy of a rat better known as Ace, and now former agent of Team Meteor who's on our side. I last saw them during the previous pulse where everyone was battling. As it turns out, after I left to pursue Corey, Amaria got trounced by Lin, but was saved here by Ace, who basically told Lin, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop being so murderous. That's like real cringe." And I'm like your boss, so like, yeah, stop. Which did make Lin stop, though it came at the cost of Ace losing their job and Lin getting a promotion. Presently, with Ace on our side, we managed to find out that Team Meteor has 3 more pulses. However, Kane and I are less interested in that because Anna, Noelle, Charlotte, Shelly, and Heather, 5 kids, have been kidnapped. According to Ace, they are in the hands of Dr. Connell. But as painful as it is, their lives aren't in any immediate danger. The pulses are more dangerous and can harm far more people, so with a heavy heart, both Kane and I agree to assist in destroying the nearby pulses with Amaria. The first being in Peridot Ward, where the game first began. It's inside a factory, so with Ace to back us up, we break into the Blackstream factory, where I realize just how strong Amaria is. Like, look at that deliverance. Level 87 and I am in the late 30s. And, dude, most Pokemon games end at around 54, but Reborn is a bit longer. Further into the factory, things get worse. A lot worse. As it turns out, Ace was a double agent who pretended to jump ship just to get back in Team Meteor's good graces. So he throws me down a trapdoor and forces me to solve a really good puzzle. Like, I cannot stress enough how fun this logic puzzle is down here. It's just organizing a bunch of things in the correct order, and it's great. So once I super freeze the bars and then cause them to blow up with some heat, I make my way through the factory and come face to face with Solaris, the leader of Team Meteor. He decides to explain to me what exactly his goal is, basically summing it up as wanting to make Reborn so shitty and miserable that people will want to leave. Which, after what I've seen, yeah, he's doing a pretty good job at that. With the current scheme being to use this gnarly pulsed red muck to pollute the water, at the cost of the muck's life. Yeah, these pulses power up the Mons to such a degree they die. Once Solaris finishes talking, he summons his Garchomp to actually just kill me. I respect the straightforwardness. Thankfully, Amaria is an absolute beast and swoops in with an Ice Beam. She engages Solaris while I dismantle the Muck Pulse, which aside from some beefy stats, also has Protean just like my Greninja. I actually came up with a decent little strat on the fly. I lowered its accuracy as much as I could. Then I put it to sleep and used Metal Screech to lower its defense. Esperoba the Bronzong is an absolute king for that. While I was doing that, Amaria's Lapras had a unique way of holding off that Tyranitar. I won't judge. Victory at all costs! Unfortunately, Solaris is a little too hateful and has his Tyranitar break several of Amaria's ribs. Then he escapes. Amaria limps out and assures me that while Team Meteor did pollute the water, it's not impossible to fix. There's a water treatment center north of Reborn that can undo the damage. However, if you'll recall, there are still 2 more pulses, ready to destroy more of Reborn. And thanks to this new injury, Amaria is out of commission. It'll be quite a while before I see her again. So, it falls solely on me to stop them, because in the factory, Kane got captured. The next one is in Apafil Academy, a little island to the west of Reborn's harbor. Amaria lends me her boat and wishes me luck. At the academy, I'm able to inform the not quite a gym leader but still leader of the island, Kiki, about the pulse. Oh, and Victoria's here now. She's actually second in command of this little island, so I've got her support on this now. And with her support, she convinces Kiki to fork over the strength TM to me. I just need to beat Victoria, which I do rather easily. She isn't very tough. Once I knew her team, I just did some switching and she died. It was kind of disappointing. Yet after that, I still need to fight Kiki and prove my worth. And the duel with Kiki is in my humble opinion, one of the 3 hardest fights in all of Reborn. The focus field effect means that psychic and fighting types deal big damage, and she also sets up on her mons and makes them so strong they can one-shot anything through a resistance. The biggest monster here is her Lucario. It's too fast and too strong. It's wiped out half my team, and that was before I even got to see her full squad. Truthfully, my team isn't very equipped to deal with Kiki's fighting types. Like, Esperoba the Bronzong doesn't deal enough damage and is neutral to fighting type moves. Plus, no flying type, cause I'm me. So to win this fight, I had to change up my team quite a bit. Namely by picking up Drift's the Drifloon, and this guy named Sting, who I didn't use in the fight whatsoever despite him being dragged along. The solution ended up being to lead with Esperoba, murder this Machamp, don't get crit, die to Lucario, then incinerate Lucario with a police-sponsored flamethrower, run from Hitmonlee's heat, send in the Santee to fake out, then run away to bring in Drips, laughs as Hitmonlee crashes from a high jump kick, try to repeat and be shocked as Drips gets got, but Aftermath is a pretty nice bonus. Switch to Gaiden and cry as Water Shuriken fails to secure the W. I do it again and kill. Swap Gaiden out for Commissioner, incinerate this Toxicroak, bask in how to survive a crit strength. I needed both the Intimidate drop and a lucky burn from Flamethrower. Decide that I don't really want to play this fight again and use Lemonades to stay healthy and just watch this frog burn to death. So satisfying. And finally, there's Kiki's ace, Medicham, who can literally only crit. So lick, then die, and then ignore that I got crazy lucky with a process after it healed, but I won. And yep, that was a miserable fight that I never want to do again. Now, this battle did make me rage, like a lot. I have nearly 3 hours of footage on this fight, and it is very much my fault, but also emblematic of the change in mentality I needed to make in order to overcome Reborn. Winning this game requires much more than just knowing the type matchups. Items matter a lot. Order of Mons, being aware of how much damage I'm dealing. What will the AI do? What will it send out next? I need to actually strategize. I can't just bang my head against the wall and expect to win. I need to think, otherwise beating this game with my sanity will be impossible. After losing, Kiki's overcome by her sickness and falls to the ground. Victoria tends to her, and Kiki reveals that the Strength TM was stolen before I got here, meaning all of that was just a waste of my time. Thankfully, plot comes running right at me because something shady's happening on an archipelago near the academy, so I hop over, hey, Team Meteor, and look at that, Kane's here. Also a Meteor admin, Taka, and a Camerupt. We fight, and Taka reveals that with this Camerupt, they are going to make Apafil's volcano erupt and kill everyone on the island. So after beating up Taka and his goons, leaving them defenseless, I let them escape with the Camerupt to go set the pulse up. Something about that feels wrong, but I freed Kane, the damsel in distress. And we both head to the volcano to stop those guys I let get away. Kane goes to inform Victoria and Kiki as I storm the volcano with Kane and Victoria as backup. Man, Kane moves fast. At the peak of the volcano, both Cal and Kane have been beaten by 2 enemies, Solaris the leader and Taka his son. Did not know this man fucks. That's inappropriate. Victoria engages Taka while it's up to me to take on Solaris, who remarks that he won't need more than a single Pokemon to beat me. Yeah, right. Oh, he really is only using 1. What the f? So he may be right, but I say no, and I run it back. I need to beat this level 75 Garchomp, because it feels so damn winnable. So I spent about an hour theory crafting and came up with a plan. It involves changing Esperoba's Heatproof to Levitate, and leading with Commissioner to intimidate the dragon all the way down to a -6 in attack. It took a lot of switching and no crits. I sacrificed my entire team to ensure that neither Commissioner nor Esperoba took any damage. So eventually, my Esperoba with Iron Defense, Hypnosis, Metal Sound, Extrasensory, and a few Lemonades manages to barely secure me a W, which Solaris then clowns on by just using a revive. Things are kind of getting bad, but after Kiki dragged herself through the volcano and provides well, she tries to assist. She sends her Metacham to destroy the pulse, but Cal stops her, using his Magmortar to catch Kiki's Metacham and then slam dunks it into the lava, killing it. Cal is a member of Team Meteor. From the looks of it, he used Victoria's offer to come here as a cover to set up this pulse. He apologizes, saying that he has a habit of not being what people want him to be, though it hardly matters thanks to what comes next. Solaris executes Kiki, a merciless act that pisses Cal off, which reasonably confuses Solaris, because by setting up the pulse, he was already going to kill everyone on the island, Kiki included, so why care? Cal says he didn't want this to happen, calls himself weak and pathetic, which is something Kiki taught him to accept. She taught him to accept his weakness in the time he was here. Weakness is standing by and not doing anything to protect what you care about. Which, rings a little hollow considering what just went down. But to Cal, now is the perfect time to make a stand, so with a single order he has his Magmortar destroy the pulse camera, reducing it to nothing. Definitely a good thing, and I'm glad he did it, but Kiki might have appreciated that a bit earlier. With the plan in ruins, Solaris and Taka up and leave, but not before belittling Cal, saying that his older brother is right. Cal is worthless to both sides. Again, Cal tries to apologize, but Victoria reasonably tells him to leave, which he does. Kane and I try to comfort Victoria, but she's not in the mood for anything. Kane tries to say that we did it, we managed to save the Academy, but in Victoria's eyes, we didn't do enough and failed, and Kiki died due to our incompetence. Kane and I both decide that there's no reason to blame ourselves, we need to blame the real culprits, Team Meteor, and stop their next scheme. There's still one more pulse out there, so that's a priority. Kane and I get ready to head out, but Victoria isn't coming, instead throwing herself into the role of Kiki by taking up management of the Academy. In her own words, this is where our story ends. At least, my part in it. So I leave and head off to the Bix Bycian Wasteland, where not a lot happens. Like, there actually isn't a pulse here. I mean, there is, but it's just Mr. Bigglesworth, and he's not hurting anyone. I still killed him. But there is a gym all the way out here, a poison-type gym, which happens to be run by Kane's sister, Aya. Now, there is a whole plotline about Kane abandoning his responsibility as a gym leader and forcing his sister to take over for him, thrusting the job onto her. But Fern is here, alongside his old schoolmate, Hardy, the rock-type gym leader, who also hates Fern and cheers me on in beating up Fern. He's not that tough. I just PP-stalled his crocodile with levitate, and then everything else kinda just died really easily. Naturally, Fern says he'd let me win, but best bro Hardy sees through it, and says coming down to Aya's gym was worth it just to see Fern lose. Fern literally has no friends, and that makes me happy. And so my battle with Aya begins, and it's a pretty tough fight. It's a double battle actually. On this toxic wasteland field that boosts poison type damage, nullifies the ground type weakness. It's a strong field, but since it's a double battle, Protect is king, because Aya will always go for the kill. And maybe a sneaky revive here and there might have secured me the W. With Aya beaten, she confides a few of her insecurities to Hardy, who being a good guy, decides to stick around and help her adjust to becoming a gym leader, since Kane really did force her to deal with all sorts of stuff that she didn't ask for. I also get my badge, a TM, and an increase to the level cap. I'm at the big 50, where Pokemon games usually end. And this is badge number 5. And this video is... oh dear. Let's jump to saving the kids, because I lost the connecting footage. I found the strength TM, so I'm gonna go kidnap those kids back. Storming this building with Kane as a partner and taking down Meteor Grunts, I reach the top floor where I'm confronted by Connell with Heather. Thankfully, Team Meteor has forbidden Dr. Connell from using electroshock therapy on her. though that kindness is only because they want to steal Heather's ruby ring and interrogate her for information. But Heather is still traumatized and still can't speak thanks to Connell, which Connell still refuses to acknowledge as his own fault, because according to him, Heather hasn't lost the ability, only the will. Naturally, I'm pissed, and then I'm presented with a choice. Do I fight Connell here, or do I hear him out? Weirdly enough, I decided to hear him out because I wanted to see if this would avoid a fight. And it actually did. As it turns out, Connell doesn't care about Team Meteor's plans, but because someone he knows might be a member. That's interesting. So he has no problem in letting me leave and take Heather, all without a fight. Nice. But the rest of the kids are one level higher, being interrogated by Sirius, the so edgy he looks very silly and out of place guy. He apparently wanted Anna, the girl with the Jirachi doll, because she has a thing called an amethyst pendant, which has something to do with the doorway I found next to Victoria. Either way, I want every kid back, and nothing will stop me. So Kane and I take him on in a 12v6. It must suck to be the 6 in that fight. He loses. Badly. So badly, he takes Anna hostage with probably a gun or a knife arm enhancement. Kane trades Anna for this emerald brooch he found, which allows us to get her and leave. But it turns out that emerald was a fake, and also a bomb. No time to dwell since we are now on the run from Team Meteor. Running through the rail net, we hijack a barely working train and escape the city of Reborn, arriving in the Chrysolia region, which after a small trek through the woods takes us to the home of one of Reborn's Elite Four, Laura, big sister to the Charlotte. While they settle in, I go to challenge Sarah, ex-supermodel and current MILF Ice gym leader, and I hate her battle with a burning passion because her battle takes place on the mirror field. And here in the mirror field, Sarah loves to implore evasion strategies. I won through healing and setting up a +6 on this single Kling. 6 badges now, we're done. Returning to the kids, I get blindsided by a woman on a Dragonite. This is Saphira, the Dragon Gym leader, older sister of both Charlotte and Laura. She's here because Team Meteor and Dr. Connell's orderlies are about to raid us. The kids are told to hide while Laura and I are tasked with defending the house. Meanwhile, Saphira will rain hellfire down upon them as they approach. Inside, I defend the first floor while Laura takes the second floor. It doesn't take long for Connell to arrive, and this time he's here to brawl. He's tough, but he's nothing I can't handle. Admin Sirius then shows up, revealing that Saphira sorta killed quite a few people in her defense of this home. A bit extreme, but I don't have time to reflect. Because with Sirius here, I'm now outnumbered and these two are about to split up. Sirius heading upstairs and Connell exploring the rest of the first floor. I'm given a choice, Sirius or Connell, first floor or second floor. What do I protect? If you'll remember, I was asked to protect the first floor, and Laura is on the second floor, and also a member of the Elite Four. So I choose to rely on her strength because if I leave, there's no one else down here. I continue standing in Connell's way. But I didn't need to do much as Saphira shows up and pulls a lance by blasting Connell with a hyper beam, only to then be stabbed from behind by Sirius's Seviper. Laura upstairs manages to fend Sirius off, but the man is so pissed that he refuses to leave empty-handed and kidnaps Saphira. Naturally, Laura and I give chase, following them to the nearby Tanzan Mountains where they have a base, which like all the others is stormed, and inside there's in fact another pulse, a Pulse Abra. I engage it, and oh, it is level 75, but this thing only knows one move, Hyper Beam, so it's not too tough. I got enough party to take it down. But by that point, I'm down 3 Pokemon and surrounded by Team Meteor. Things then get worse when Lin, the rising unstoppable superstar, appears. But thankfully she's more annoyed at her colleagues than me, which allows me to escape as Saphira found this massive Steelix and is now wrecking the base. She also looks really cute sitting up there. But Saphira is then matched by Lin, who's riding atop her Hydreigon. A short battle occurs as Lin looks down upon Saphir's motivations, saying that family and loyalty are worthless and irrelevant in the face of pure, unbridled power, the only thing that matters. Back to me. I return to Laura's house and... Saphir's not back, but Anna thinks that in the meantime, I should have my battle against Noel for another nifty badge. Which I do, and he's weirdly easy. Noel's the normal type gym leader, so he's got a pretty varied team, but the field we're on is just a slightly buffed grassy terrain, where every now and then both sides get healed, and he doesn't really benefit from it, so it's just a 6v6 slap fight that, thanks to Intimidate Commissioner, I'm able to win, granting me my 7th gym badge. But unlike a normal game, this adventure isn't coming to an end anytime soon. Honestly, I don't think it's really begun yet either. Chapter 3: Lost Girl. After that, I regroup with Saphira, who hands me both the ruby ring and amethyst pendant, half of the items that Team Meteor are looking for. Let's pause for a second and discuss what exactly is Team Meteor's goal, as they are the main antagonists and you should know that. So if you recall that underground temple where I saved Victoria, so that's a location of great power that's sealed shut and can only be opened by 4 magic pieces of jewelry. The ruby ring, used to belong to Heather, is now in my pocket. Amethyst pendant, currently in my pocket, did belong to Anna though. Sapphire bracelets, they belong to Amaria. She's somewhere north of Reborn currently. Emerald brooch, apparently worn by a girl named Luna. So I should focus on finding Luna. Once that door is opened, Team Meteor will have the power to do anything, even create a whole new world. Their reason for all the extreme terrorism is to get people to leave Reborn, because their leader Solaris thinks it's disgusting that this awful city was built atop of something so mystical. And henceforth, my goal is to ensure that Team Meteor never gets their hands on all 4 pieces of jewelry. As long as I'm able to hold on to one of these things, victory is assured. Back to game, Saphira tells me that we'll meet again north in Labrador City, so getting there is my eventual goal. I head north, and after 45 hours of playing, I finally reach Route 1 and get jumped by Fern. This fight is nothing special and I win very handily. He loses and then hilariously says that it doesn't matter since we know who the real top dog is. I'm now left to explore Route 1, which is one of my favorite areas in the game because this place is huge. It's so long, look at the full map. And it has one of the greatest things to ever exist. Look at this! It's so fast, it's so cute, I love riding it. Plus it's got a pretty fun exploration mechanic. When riding atop Tauros, you can climb up these unclimbable ledges, and with the Bouffalons, you can destroy these knocked over trees to create new paths, leading to some pretty fun exploration. Because there's just so much to find and get lost in. Route 1 is great, and it houses our next gym. Castle. This is the Psychic type gym, and I'm greeted by this mini Cynthia lookalike. She's Luna, the Dark type gym leader, and is the current holder of the Emerald Brooch. She's actually on the run from Team Meteor and is laying low here as a castle maid. The castle does not have any maids. Luna here likes fantasy, and is a bit of a cloud cuckoo lander. More on her later, but for now we want to focus on Radamus, the gym leader who's this quirky man who wears a lot of hats. He's even a man of culture who uses one of my favorite Pokemon, Gardevoir, and his Gardevoir, Gossip, is the #1 reporter in all of Reborn. You can actually catch her on the TV reporting on the various things you do, and getting the deets on the upcoming gym leaders. It's a really cool detail. However, before I can battle him, another kidnapping has occurred because Gossip the Gardevoir has been kidnapped by a man named L, who is an Arceus cultist. I'm gonna rewind a little bit so you can understand this next plot point. Back in the Ice Mirror gym with Sarah, she mentioned something about a missing girl. That girl is Luna. She's on the run from her father, who is L. L is also a part of Team Meteor. Why is she running? Well, L is very overbearing, which is bad because Luna has the Emerald Brooch. For that reason, she was laying low with Radamus, but now, to try and get her back, L has kidnapped Gossip Gardevoir, forcing Kane, Radamus, and I to take the case. Though, oddly enough, Radamus is very dismissive and unworried about his Gardevoir. Which, maybe that's just an example of how much he trusts her? I mean, gossip does have its own life outside the Pokeball, being a reporter and whatnot. Our pursuit leads us to an underground cavern that is filled with glistening stones and houses a massive, pristine ancient temple to God, Arceus. And this temple has been kept in chronostasis for over 20 years, but thanks to our arrival, time begins to flow once more, freeing Adrian, the former fairy-type gym leader. This wonderful person who 20 years ago accidentally stumbled across this place and was frozen in time. They claim that to them, almost no time has passed, because upon stepping in here, they basically blinked and saw El with a Gardevoir head into the temple. They also saw some kid climbing on one of these walls. Odd situation that'll have to wait as we are pursuing El, who we managed to find after ascending the temple. On a balcony, a complicated series of events unfolds that results in me battling against Arceus. As it turns out, El did steal Gardevoir, but then he just threw her in a closet and had his Ditto pretend to be her. He did that to try and turn everyone here against Radamus, but that scheme failed, and because El wasn't too happy, he, in one of the sickest plays I have ever seen, has his Ditto appear in the visage of God to smite me. So yeah, I'm dueling a level 75 Arceus, and I am averse to fear strats. So I rely on Hypnosis and 2 Metal Sounds, which I do here despite misclicking and accidentally using Hypnosis twice in a row, thus making Arceus frail enough for guiding the Greninja to kill it with 3 Water Pulses. Following my victory, Radamus has his Gardevoir teleport to him and use her Hypnosis on El to brainwash him into an unthinking servant. This doesn't feel moral, but I do need to challenge Radamus to a gym battle, so I think it's a necessary evil. But there is another loose end before the battle. Adrian, they were frozen in time, remember that? We take them back to the city of Reborn, but upon seeing the city, they are concerned to say the least. Apparently, this shithole of a city isn't the Reborn Adrian remembers. However, despite having their entire world rocked, Adrian does not despair. Instead, Adrian finds resolve. Adrian is going to fix Reborn City and return it back to what it used to be. I'll check back with them later, I've got a gym to beat. And it's hands down one of the best ones. Simply put, Radamus likes chess. I also happen to like chess. The puzzles in this gym are chess-based. It's like finding a solution to a game state in chess, which is fun as hell. Which is in stark contrast to the unique field effect of this gym. It's chess, as in the order of your team determines what kind of piece they are, from pawn to knight to bishop, rook, king, and queen. It's a lot to think about, and while yes, there is a machine that tells you what pieces are what in your team lineup, each team also gets a unique bonus and a unique mechanic, and I don't want to do that. Which is why, for the battle against Radamus, my strategy was to not play chess. Because, as it turns out, you can remove the field effects with the move Stomping Tantrum that my Ozaru just so happens to have. I love that. But even without the field, Radamus isn't a pushover because he uses a Trick Room team, which was quite troublesome. However, theory crafting gave me the perfect answer. Leading with Ozaru and Scissors the Lurantis because Ozaru always survives long enough to hit a Stomping Tantrum, while Scissors is slow and can take advantage of Trick Room, then allows me to Protect Stall out Trick Room and gradually inch towards a victory. Though by the end of this battle, my exhaustion did show because all the footage of fighting Radamus was recorded while I was sitting at work, so I had no reservations about healing items, and the battle ended with me using Struggle Bug to lower the special attack of the enemy, while my Gaiden kept healing, which did allow me to secure an 8th gym badge. I'd be at the Elite 4 now if this were a regular Pokemon game, but we still got 10 more badges. After the battle, I'm about to be kidnapped because the power went out, and as I tried to leave out the front door, I got jumped. I have not healed since the battle against Radamus, literally 30 seconds ago. Turns out, El is no longer mind-controlled by Radamus. and decided to call up his buddies from Team Meteor, because apparently L agrees with Team Meteor's divine purpose, as he calls it, eradicating the unclean city and restoring the glory of what lies beneath the city. As he's monologuing, I'm then saved by Kane, who fights off Team Meteor, buying me time to escape. Before I run away, he does inform me that yet another kidnapping has taken place. Luna has been kidnapped, and she's the next gym leader, so it's my job to rescue her. After I leave, Kane makes a startling realization. L is actually a member of the Elite Four. But even so, Kane stands his grounds, like a real friend. Outside, I rendezvous with Radamus, who informs me that Luna has likely been taken to 7th Street, Reborn's literal underground black market. He also decides to hold on to the amethyst pendant for me while he does some other business. In order to find Luna, I end up becoming a gang star in the Lapis Ward Aqua Gang, which only involved me beating up the Magma Gang like it's Omega Ruby, beating up an old lady and robbing her, and that gave me enough street cred to access 7th Street, one of the most useful places in the entire game, with dozens of useful items, quirky characters, and therapy that can change a Pokemon's personality. I even bought a few ability capsules, no dumpster required. But I'm here for Luna. So I walk into a sketchy building, down a tunnel, and now I'm at the headquarters for the Cult of Arceus. So I fight my way through, solve a few biblical puzzles, battle Ace, then arrive at the site of a ritual, where L is going to shave his daughter bald and then erase quite a few of her memories so that she becomes a lot less rebellious. Not very cool. Thankfully, Radamus shows up. Apparently I was just bait so that he could reach the Cult of Arceus, so that he could be within reach of Luna to teleport me and her out. Though in the process we do lose the Emerald Brooch, but we did get Kane back because he was kidnapped after getting destroyed by L. With us out, Radamus dips and Kane decides to investigate Agate City, where apparently the staff has just fallen into an eternal sleep. Luna allows me to challenge her for my next gym badge, which I do, and I beat Luna for the 9th gym badge. She's honestly the easiest gym leader, and I just kind of used bug type and fighting moves, and that was enough. I have no idea what her unique field did, probably boost dark type damage, and I won very quickly. So all that's left to do now is to go and join Kane in Agate City, where at the border checkpoints, all the guards are dead tired, passed out. Regardless of what we do, nothing will wake them. So something is clearly going down. Chapter 4. Agate Mystery. Kane and I resolve to investigate further and cross the border into Agate City, where it's really quiet, not an NPC in sight except for that meteor grunt, but I didn't see him shut up. We find Aya and Hardy passed out in the middle of the streets. If you recall, Aya was Kane's older sister. A crazy clown chick with a giant mallet then strolls in and whacks both Aya and Hardy out of the city. That was Terra. She is simultaneously the best and worst thing. Leans more towards worst, but that's kind of the point. She escorts us out of Agate City into the nearby circus because apparently due to some kind of plot from Team Meteor, likely another pulse, everyone in Agate City has fallen asleep, and anyone who enters the city succumbs to the same fate within minutes. A portion of the city was saved and recovered by moving into the circus, thanks to the 3 gym leaders here. Just outside the big top, I can meet Anastasia, the ringmaster of the circus and the character with my favorite design in the whole game. Just look at her. Or more like, look at that hat, it's so peak. She explains that Aya is now recovering in the big top, but Hardy on the other hand is missing. Checking up on Aya, who's right here in the big top, I'm properly introduced to the leaders of the circus. Samson, the fighting type gym leader, CL, the flying type gym leader, and Terra, the ground type gym leader. They let me know that Hardy likely crashed somewhere on Route 2 and asked me to look into a lead on Team Meteor, who's behind the crisis. Apparently an agent named Tita Win is responsible, and another gym leader might know something about them. That gym leader being Amaria, the water type gym leader who helped me out so much earlier. Apparently she lived somewhere on Route 2, so, well, let's get going. Route 2 is pretty fun, because there's these puzzles where you gotta push these crystals to make a path, and as a bona fide crystal enjoyer, I loved it. This leads me right to Amaria's house, and she's just excited to see me. Honestly, Amaria's always been a beacon of sunshine, so this was a nice change after cult stuff with Elle and constant kidnappings. I also get to meet her girlfriend Titania, the Steel-type gym leader. Very cool, red hair, she's curt and to the point, and informed me that Hardy is her little brother and also upstairs. Perfect, both goals aligned. I head up and check on Hardy only to get blindsided by Titania, who tells me that she will not allow me to drag Amaria back into conflict with Team Meteor, because Amaria struggles enough with self-harm and depression. Titania's worried that I might push Amaria off the deep end. So after Hardy wakes up, she tells me to get the hell out. I acquiesce. But as I'm leaving, Amaria is watching the TV, where an urgent report on the current conflict of Team Meteor is airing. They have taken over the city of Labradora, and are holding the residents hostage. To oppose them is a resistance led by the Dragon-type gym leader, Saphira. This resistance is in the neighboring Calcion City. As to how they took over a city, it's thanks to yet another pulse. A pulse Mr. Mime that prevents anyone who's not Team Meteor from entering. Hearing that, Amaria wants to help out, but Titania won't allow it because A. Amaria is still injured, B. Amaria has the Sapphire bracelets, and C. Team Meteor wants the Sapphire bracelets. Amaria agrees, but still wanting to help, she nominates me to go in her place. But I'd need Surf to get across a river, so I go back and beat Samson after much difficulty in a segment that regrettably had to be cut, earning me badge number 10 after a battle filled with damage roll calculation. Now able to surf, I'm informed by Terra, who's a super mega elite hacker, that the source of the Agate sleep spell is coming from Ametrine, the snowy city at the top of Ametrine Mountain. And with 5 gym leaders here, I get nominated by Kane to put a stop to it. I mean, thanks for believing in me, Kane, but dude, there are so many options here. Turns out I still need to pick up the Surf TM, so I go back to Amaria's house, where Amaria's just out on a walk, so Titania goes to grab the HM for me. But while she's gone, Amaria comes back, and shares her suspicions that Titania might be a member of Team Meteor, codename Pitawin, which would explain why Titania doesn't want Amaria to pursue Team Meteor, and like, in general, Titania is distant, plus Titawin and Titania sounds kinda similar. These small truths make Amaria a little uncomfortable, and then she sees Titania's journal, which, after giving a quick read, she finds a couple phrases like, lying to her, imprisoned by her own secrets, fake fairy tale romance. Titania immediately shows up and asks if we read her diary, which I confess to, no reason to lie when it's so blatant. Unfortunately, while both Titania and I are indifferent, Amaria is emotional to say the least, as in she immediately jumps to the conclusion that Titania never loved her, which, interestingly enough, prompts Titania to respond with, "Are we really going to go over this again? How many times have we had this conversation?" Resulting in Amaria staggering out of the house. We pursue her to the edge of a waterfall. Here, it's revealed that Titania doesn't love Amaria in the way Amaria loves her. It's mainly because she's incapable. Titania has very muted emotions. Things like love are a little out of reach. But then, why fake a relationship for 5 years on? It's cause she was concerned about Amaria. Concerned that Amaria would cut her life short. Amaria's been dancing on a razor's edge, while Titania's personality is just stagnant, culminating in Amaria believing that she's become Titania's prison. So, in what she calls freeing Titania, Amaria throws herself off the waterfall. Titania then looks at me and says, "I'm going after her. I don't have a way back up. Figure it out." And then she leaps after her. Not sure what to do next. I go to Ametrine City. That's something I can accomplish, which involved going through an ice cave where I met up with Kane, Aya, and Hardy. We are presently standing in front of the road to Ametrine City, but there's this huge ice wall blocking the path, so nix that plan. Instead, I'm heading to Calcinon City with the gang. We head down a different path and arrive to the steps of the city, but a laser beam rains from above and destroys the stairs. Saphira on her Dragonite descends and lets us know that the situation has gotten a lot worse. Team Meteor has activated another pulse, a Pulse Clawster, which is basically a supercharged long-range railgun that can shred through anything. Saphira's been parrying attacks, redirecting them to avoid damage to the city, but redirecting just causes damage elsewhere. Still, now we have to use the eastern entrance, and while running down Route 3, Aya and I end up getting separated from Kane and Hardy thanks to some Pulse Clawster splash damage. To regroup, we end up taking a detour through a cave, which ends up bringing us to a Team Meteor base. Lucky. There, I meet Aster and Eclipse, the duo of meteor grunts who always shows up. I just love how dismissive Eclipse is. Upon arriving, she's just like, whatever, let's get this over with. Because I have beaten her every single time. Of course she knows she's going to lose. So after that loss, Eclipse just straight up quits. She even powers off the Pulse Clawster. She's done because she's not stupid. She joined Team Meteor because they were supposed to make the world better, but all they've done is commit terrorism, kill people, destroy homes. And now they're destroying Eclipse's home, Calcinon City, where her dad lives. Plus, even if they do make a new world with the power beneath Reborn, the people who died aren't coming back. It's pointless. She also informs me that originally under Solaris, they never kill people or even caused widespread destruction. Instead, they originally did more subtle terrorism, like polluting the water, forcing businesses to go out of business. But everything changed once this Lin appeared and began to shoot up the ranks, which is interesting. He's what escalated this. Before Eclipse can delve into more serious roles in, and he has his Chandelure burn away Eclipse's soul, reducing her to an empty husk. He then kidnaps Aya while I escape to Calcinon City. There, I'm reunited with Anna, Noelle, and Shelly, who then tell me to go back to Ametrine City and hand me the TM for Dive. Apparently Anna just had that, though to use it, I need to get the fire badge from the Calcinon City. So I go outside to do that, and then I get my next Fern encounter. He's working with Team Meteor now, because he wants to be on the winning side and needs to feel needed. He's so petty and wants people to laud him with applause, call him great. He's so starved for it that he's willing to compromise any morals he used to have. He'll side with Team Meteor despite once fighting against them. That over with, I go and challenge Charlotte for the fire badge and access to Dive, which I win thanks to earthquakes from Hermione the Flygon, and having a water type with Surf helped. This allows me to dive my way right to this Pulse Avalugg, where I get some Mercy Killets and arrive in Ametrine City. Here, I meet up with Shelly, and we start looking for Heather because she was apparently adopted by someone in this town, and she could be of great help. It's here where I meet Blake. This guy is a part of Team Meteor, and he's Cal's older brother. Now you see, Blake doesn't really care much about Team Meteor's goal. He's honestly very lazy and straightforward, so he just says that he'll give us Heather and the TM for Waterfall if I give him the ruby ring. My response is quick and efficient. No deal. This ring belongs to Heather, and I am not going to give it up just to see her. Instead, I'll keep it so I can return it to her myself. But Shelly whips out the ring anyway to convince me to take the deal, and Blake just steals it. Obviously, I give chase, but he took the elevator first, and by the time I make it downstairs, he's gone and his brother is here now. Cal, the guy who murdered Kiki's Medicham at the peak of the volcano and simultaneously betrayed both the good guys and the bad guys. Though his hair is more bluish now, and he's back with a pretty unique outlook. He does apologize to Shelly for hitting her all the way back when I got my 3rd gym badge, but after apologizing, he just moves on. He doesn't wallow in the past mistake, and instead focuses on what he can fix. He's resolved to just be himself, and he's going to focus on what he can do, like helping Heather and stopping Blake from getting away. We join forces and come up with a plan. According to Cal, Blake has called in an air unit from Team Meteor so he can hand off the ruby ring. Thus, if we can save Heather, who if you recall has a Salamence, we can get her back in the field. We can outmatch whatever Team Meteor brings. Cal lets me know of a secret passage in Blake's apartment, where we find Heather, and she and Shelly take to the skies to destroy the air unit while I run down the mountain to go up a different path to support Cal. By the time I arrive, Cal's already in a confrontation with his brother. I manage to stop him from ascending further, but then Blake's reinforcements arrive. Cal and I fight through these meteor grunts, and I learned something. It turns out he didn't kill Kiki's Metacham. He somehow saved it, and it's now a part of his team. That's really cool. Also, I want to mention that at this point in the game, I have another all-star member of my team. You've probably seen this Galvantula in my squad from the past footage, but this is Zappy, because the papaya girl. And Zappy is a mainstay of this squad all the way till the end because of one move, Sticky Web. Easily the most goated move in the game. I ended up relying on Sticky Web to ensure victory in so many of these battles, because speed is king and a lot of the battles against my future opponents will have perfect IVs and min-maxed EVs, which also ends up becoming true for these meteor grunts. So being able to slow them down is so freaking essential, it's not funny. Heather then descends and asks Cal to lend her a hand in stopping Team Meteor from crowding the mountaintop. He's game and hops on his Charizard to shoot down some helicopters. We have just gone straight to killing at this point, but it's basically a war, so what are we gonna do? Further up the mountain, I regroup with Shelly. We eventually reach a cave where I'm stopped by Meteor Grunt Aster. Shelly keeps moving while I stay to deal with him. This time the battle is different. He yells at me, saying that he has the TM for Waterfall. He commands me to battle him and take the machine from him. After I beat him, Aster is somewhat relieved and hands me the TM, telling me to pretend I took it by force, and to consider it a gift from Eclipse. He tells me that he's done with Team Meteor, and tells me that the world does need to change, but not in Team Meteor's way. Fixing everything is my responsibility. He leaves. He's a changed man, and I'm all for it. I press forward, and at the peak of Ametrine Mountain, I defeat Blake. But despite the escape helicopter arriving, Blake is left wide open for Cal and Heather to attack him, prying the ruby ring from him, right in front of Solaris. He gets away, but reveals that the cause of the sleepiness in Agate City is not coming from Ametrine City. Cal even corroborates this, leading us both to realize that Terra, the clown who told me that the signal was coming from here, was lying. She was just trying to throw me off the trail. And once I tell Cal about Terra, it turns out he knows her, because she was in Team Meteor with him under the name Titawin, which is actually just a coincidence for both me and Titania. Even stranger, apparently that Lin woman was pushing for Terra to join Team Meteor and be given a higher rank. The chick who went on about teamwork being worthless and weak wanted this crazy clown chick to join so badly. Weird. Cal flies me back to the circus so I can confront Terra. Inside, Samson and Ciel are here, so I fill them in on what I've learned, which is when Terra walks in. We confront her and she evades every question, even bringing up Star versus the forces of evil like a real one. The shamelessness of it all leaves us all so stunned that Terra is able to execute Jackoff and gets beamed into a computer. But apparently she's theatric enough to leave space for a player 2 to join her. So with both gym leaders here, and Ciel being the strongest of the trio and a perfect counter to Terra, it's agreed that I must be the one to confront her since I know the most. Which is fine, yeah, I'll do everything, I'm used to it. I check in and arrive in a very different but familiar world. It's Kanto, from Gen 1. Specifically Victory Road, the walk-in area. Even the music is a Gen 1 remix. It's pretty damn sick. Traversing through here, I am nearly crushed by Terra's mallets, which in turn begins to destroy this digital world. Progressing through the now aptly named Glitch World, I cut down numerous mons and a few trainers. Passed through vague deconstructions of Rocket HQ, Cerulean City, Rock Tunnel, all while suffering through some pretty cringy dialogue. Terra is an annoying troll and likes the word booty. This leads me to Cerulean Tunnel, where a battle with Mewtwo awaits me. And here I want to talk about the unique glitch field effects because it's just Gen 1 battle mechanics, like special attack and special defense. No, it's just the special stat. And the special stat is whichever's higher between special attack and defense. Psychic moves are back to being OP and only have a bug type weakness. Oh yeah, and crits? Puts are back to being determined by speed. It's really fun, I enjoyed this field. And in a battle against Mewtwo, he is pretty king. But I can throw my 6 mons at him and eventually win, so come on. Defeating Mewtwo opens the pathway to Terra, who awaits at the end of the Indigo Plateau. She says she's doing all this because she loves chaos. Then she asks me for my kick, and I, like a mature and responsible adult, prepare to throw hands. Terra here is a ground-type gym leader, who I mercilessly beat with Sticky Web and an Espeon that sets up with Calm Mind. With Terra defeated, she gives me the Gravity Badge, and in Terra's own words, she allows me to get wet by giving me the TM for Waterfall. I can now go help Amaria and Titania. Remember that? And being defeated, Terra runs further into the computer while I escape. Once I'm out, Samson powers off the computer just to keep Terra in stasis. Pretty smart. I'm glad he did that after I got the badge from Terra. With the power of Waterfall, I can now descend after Titania, and it's been like 2 weeks since they fell down there. Hopefully there's still OMG Victoria cameo! The waterfall takes me to a water treatment plant, where Titania immediately greets me by asking if I know how long she's been down here. Apparently by the time she surfaced, a group of Team Meteor grunts had already taken Amario away. That's another kidnapping. And then they lock Titania to this small area for good reason, because Titania has an Aegislash, and she does not show mercy. Those 2 Meteor grunts are just straight up dead. As we're talking, 2 more grunts appear and inform us that Admin Taka has decided to let us ruin the current scheme. And throughout the space, it's one of the most unintentionally funny things ever because Titania is so cold and no nonsense and extra without trying to be that she completely misses the point of what Taka's doing. She goes on and on about how easy it is to exploit Team Meteor because they're just using each other, and that she wants to do nothing more than just run Taka through with her sword, which Taka, like a normal, reasonable guy, just responds with, nah. Despite how complex Titania wants to be seen as, she very much sees things in a very black and white manner. So she doesn't really understand that Taka doesn't like being in Team Meteor, so he's sabotaging them, and he's fine doing it when I'm present because he has faith in my strength, because he has seen me overcome the odds multiple times now. Also, he introduces the big puzzle of this area, which is to just move trash around to create pathways and then flooding the area with water to make trash float, which then creates more pathways, and sometimes you gotta unflood the area to progress. It's a really good puzzle and I loved navigating this place, it was super fun. In the next encounter with Taka, Titania puts it together and oversimplifies his current position by boiling it down to, don't agree? Just leave. There's always a choice. You choose to bind yourself if you think otherwise. Which, is a nice sentiment, but things are more complicated than that, especially when you remember Cory, who basically had his daughter held hostage to ensure he stayed in line, or Eclipse being rendered brain dead after she quit. It's not that simple, Titania. Your life is on the line when you try to leave Team Meteor, and Taka is in a more special place, because he's been there since the very start, because his father is the leader of Team Meteor. It's unfortunately his family, and Taka wasn't abused or anything like that. No, his dad was a bit distant, but he still raised him. Taka still has affection for the man, and Solaris instilled in Taka this feeling of responsibility. Responsibility of being the last descendants of the people who created the seal under Reborn. For that legacy, Taka feels that it's his responsibility to protect it, even if his heart isn't fully in it. He laments his uncertainty in everything, and then gives us some instructions as to how to dismantle Team Meteor's plot and leaves. At that, Titania just goes haywire on some nearby machinery, wishing that she could just brutally murder Taka, saying how she hated living a lie and is low-key thankful that my actions resulted in her and Amaria breaking up. But she's still pissed off by Taka, who is also living a lie, but unlike Titania, who never stepped out of line with Amaria, Taka is actively doing something. So I think it just makes Titania feel weak. She needs to cool off, so I push forward, and I should mention that throughout this area, I'm now fighting New World cultists, people who want Team Meteor to succeed in creating a new world with the power of Arceus. I then come across a pulse swallet. And this thing is one annoying monster. It doesn't hit very hard, but it's tanky as hell and is holding a black sludge, along with also recovering HP thanks to the field, which basically means that it's recovering nearly 25% of its HP every turn. It takes a few attempts, but by spamming psychic attacks from Gaiden the Greninja and Paths the Espeon, I'm able to win, partially due to a lucky crit and some good paralysis luck. And by taking out the Swallet, I end up cleaning the pollution in Reborn City. That thing was creating sewage non-stop, and now the water treatment center can actually treat the water. So I did a good thing here. But there's still Taka left because since he's the admin in charge, I still gotta stop him. I find Taka in a back room with an unconscious Amaria. She's been treated of any injuries thanks to Taka, but Titania still holds Taka at sword point, calling him a spineless coward, which he just lets wash over him. He's also swiped the sapphire bracelets off Amaria and had to radio someone to come and collect them, but he just gives them back and tells me to get ready for the arriving Meteor agent. Naturally, Titania keeps insulting the guy for helping us and giving her less reasons to kill him. So Titania picks up Amaria and leaves, again telling Taka to abandon Team Meteor without thinking of his safety whatsoever. Taka then looks to me. He begs me to battle him. I'm given a choice, accept or refuse, and I could not bring myself to battle Taka. I didn't want to fight an ally, I guess. It would have felt bad. So I refused to battle him. And maybe this is what's best for him. It could be like a wake-up call, because at this rate, he's either gonna die from Team Meteor, or he'll die fighting against someone merciless like Titania or Saphira. So yeah, I refused, and he responded with a line that made me stop and think. If skinning the black sheep makes you happy, whatever. But as I'm walking out, Ace, that other Meteor admin, arrives to collect the newly gone sapphire bracelets, and seeing that I'm here, surmises that I've taken them from Taka, so they engage me in a battle. But at this stage, their shiny Pokemon just aren't a match for me, so I'm able to beat them on my first try. Reeling from their defeat, Ace realizes Taka's team is fully unharmed. So with their attention shifted, I escape as Ace interrogates Taka and discovers his treachery. Instead of condemning him, Ace agrees. Both of them dislike how violent Team Meteor has gotten, and neither of them are interested in creating a new world. They realize that all this fault is not of Solaris, it's of Lin. She's been grabbing as much power as she can. So much so that Admin Sirius, he basically reports to Lin as his leader now. So Ace says they'll talk to Solaris and deal with this, while Taka tries to keep his head down for fear of Lin retaliating. Back with me, I use Waterfall to escape the treatment plant, but on the way to Amaria's house, I'm stopped by Julia, the electric type and first gym leader I beat way back at the start. And she's joined by Florinia, the grass-type gym leader. They are as pleasant as ever. I love Julia running circles while we're talking, and apparently they arrived after seeing Amaria and Titania ascending the waterfall. Julia is a complete breath of fresh air, but we can't catch a break yet because, according to Florinia, a Team Meteor helicopter is coming to Amaria's house to take back the sapphire bracelets. Obviously, I won't let them, so the three of us head in to confront Team Meteor. Inside, we come up with a plan because Amaria is still unconscious, so for the time being it's just Titania, Florinia, Julia, and me. Which does make it kinda look like the cover of an anime I wouldn't watch. Anyway, our plan is that Florinia and I will be the first line of defense, standing in front of the doors to Amaria, while Julia will cover the back entrance, and Titania will stay by Amaria's side. Solaris then arrives and gives us an ultimatum. Hand over the sapphire bracelets, and he leaves, or fights and be left in ruin. So we fight, leading to hands down one of the best battles in Reborn through what is known as a gauntlet, because there's 3 12v12 fights that really test your team building skill, because unlike all prior and most future fights, there is no field effect. It is just your team, your skill, versus them. And at this point in the game, I already have 4/6 of my endgame team, with the solid IVs and smart EV investments all around, making me more than a match for this gauntlet. As I beat the first 2 grunts with Florinia, I then have to throw down with Fern and Blake. And this battle occurs after Fern pretends to be a hostage so his sister will stand down, but the stakes are so high that Florinia battles anyway, and this battle can seem overwhelming, but like in VGC, protect is king. Though my mons were not very cooperative since they had gone past the level cap and had a 50% chance to just not act. Very annoying. After winning, there's this big scene where Fern just hurls abuse at his older sister, claiming that she's on the wrong side for never supporting him, because she's just a scared, selfish coward too afraid to show her emotions. He denounces Florinia as his sister and leaves, which stuns her long enough for Sirius to use Poison Fang on her and remove her from the fight. Solaris then swaggers up and says that he'll deal with me himself, only for Julia to smash through the wall and kick Blake's ass using her Electro to blow Sirius away, and backs me up against Solaris and John. You remember John, right? He's an orderly from Dr. Connell's orphanage who's been converted into a new world cultist and supports Team Meteor. So the battle is on, except for the start of this fight where 4 out of my 6 mons have gone past the level cap and are no longer under my control. So this fight went better than expected, but not ideal because on this first attempt, while I did manage to beat Solaris and his team, I then lost to the almighty John. Because he's honestly the real boss of this gauntlet. I personally think his Electros is a bigger menace than Solaris' Garchomp. However, like all prior battles, Sticky Web will carry me to victory as I wipe out Solaris first and then have a 1v1 with my nemesis John, who is defeated at the hands of my Saiyan warrior. Solaris is then forced to respect my ability as he has to acknowledge his current situation. All of his fighters are down, his helicopters were destroyed by Julia, and now Titania's here. While on his side, only Sirius can fight, so he decides to order Sirius to burn the house down. But unfortunately for him, this building is also a water gym, and Titania opens the floodgates and washes Team Meteor out of the building. Solaris is beyond pissed about this complete and utter defeat, so he leaves, and decides that, despite how much he hates it, they need to get Lin involved. Because while she may lack loyalty and principles, she is undeniably unstoppable, which is needed when his opposition, me, has become so powerful. Victory tastes oh so sweet here because it's a straight up win with no caveats. In the aftermath, Amaria awakens and her memory is gone. She has forgotten me, and has forgotten all about Titania lying to her for the past few years. Florinia also awakens and decides to head back to Calcinon City, because it's right next to Labrador City, which Team Meteor has taken over, and it's likely where Fern will next be seen. Titania meanwhile stormed off after Amaria went to bed, with Julia saying that she'll look after Amaria, so Titania's my duty. She's beyond pissed that she's stuck dating Amaria again, and decides that she's not going to deal with this right now, taking the sapphire bracelets as far away as she can, leaving me alone. According to Julia, Titania went back to her gym in the desert, but to get there, I'll need to pass through Reborn City, so I need to go back to Reborn City. Thankfully, earlier Florinia gave me the TM for Fly, so now I just need to beat Ciel at the circus, which, I do. Despite the big top field turning acrobatics into an instant delete button, though my victory did come at the cost of forcing the audience watch me both PP stall and kill her ace with hail and burn chip for a full 7 minutes. But winning is winning, and I get my 13th gym badge, allowing me to finally fly. However, as I step out of the circus, the scene shifts to Ace, who begins writing a message to Solaris, warning him that Lin should not be given more power. If he does, Lin will unravel everything he's worked to maintain in Team Meteor. Lin does not respect the team and is willing to undermine her teammates just to further her own goals. Lin has threatened Taka. Ace begs Solaris to reconsider giving her power, and to just hear them out, because Ace has been with Solaris for years and has earned their trust and respect. Unlike Lin, who recently joined and has only been tainting Team Meteor, Ace then signs it with their real name, Nashira. They send the message only to be greeted by an error, followed by the screens around them flashing the message, game over. And then, the room explodes, courtesy of Lin. Cutting back to me, and even though I've gotten back Fly, I decide to first head back to Calcinon City to check out the situation with the other gym leaders, where I end up running into Aster, the meteor grunt who gave me the dive HM, and an old man. It turns out this is the home of Eclipse's father. Aster made sure to bring her body back here, where it now rests in the other room, because there might be a slight chance that she can be saved. Aster promises that he won't ever get in my way again, and then leaves. Checking on Eclipse, I am rewarded with a shiny charm. Maybe there will be hope for her one day, but I won't know unless I keep moving forward. Chapter 5: A Reborn City. I finally decide to fly back to Reborn. It's been nearly 15 pages since I've set foot there, and boy has it changed. The first thing I notice upon arriving is the music, the color. It's so cheerful. Just compare the current theme to the theme that played at the very start. It's the same song, but different. And just looking around, it's insane that all of this was possible thanks to Adrian, who I freed from time stasis. It also kind of makes sense because in the Pokemon world it's pretty fantastical with like insane tech and these awesome creatures who can do so much. Reborn City only became that bad because of Team Meteor, and thanks to my actions throughout the game, the past operations were instead focused on the outskirts, allowing Adrian and a few other people complete freedom to just rebuild the city without Team Meteor's intervention. Before continuing with the main plot, I did some exploring because I absolutely love what Reborn does in this section of the game, because it kind of just builds a legend. The legend of the player. It may seem a bit like hero worship, but it feels deserved and earned after all the effort it took to get here. There have been so many pulses that I stopped, so many people I saved, and people in the city just recognize me for what I've done. One of my favorite areas is the trainer school, where I first fought Florinia for my second gym badge, where a bunch of the students who attacked me on Fern's orders have kinda just turned over a new leaf. It turns out those students actually hated Fern, and they apologized for what they've done. And plenty of them give me their support and praise my actions. It's really flattering, and honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. I remember at the start when people would just try to kick my ass for looking at them the wrong way. It's kinda like the scene in Naruto where after Naruto beats Pain, he comes back to the village to great renown. And like, just the shift from all their hatred at the start of the series to now their praise thanks to his constant actions. That's what I feel like in this moment returning to the city. You can also meet plenty of the people you saved, and they're just happier than ever. But I can't really go too in depth on that because it'd be a lot. But hey, look, there's this store run by a Meganium now, there's also homeless shelters, and the waters are pretty blue again. I just really want to mention the Academy specifically. Also, I should mention that not all of Reborn City has been rebuilt. Places like the slums are still crime-ridden grime dens, and 7th Street, the underground black market, is still as vile as ever. But I want to try and change that, and to start, I end up buying all these Pokemon who were illegally stolen from their trainers. I've actually encountered these Pokemon before. I'm able to buy most of these Mons thanks to a clown back at the circus, and this draws the attention of Arclight, a DJ for Reborn's radio who runs a nightclub that houses the city's top trainers. He and I then decide to work together to buy back all these stolen Pokemon so we can track down their original owners, which then leads to this big side quest that results in me getting my ass kicked by a 7-year-old who outlevels me. I win eventually, and after that fight, I am rewarded with a Mega Z bracelet that I will only use for casting Z-Fire Inferno Overdrive. And yes, I did have several Mega Stones, I just didn't want to use them. Returning to Grand Hall, I encounter Amethyst, the manager of the Pokemon League, who's been technically one of my best allies throughout this whole game, at least for gyms, because Ame over an intercom actually gives you useful hints and advice for how to handle each gym. Very useful. She invites me to a meeting with Arclight, that guy I just met, and Victoria, who's glad to see me again, along with Adrian, the absolute goat of Reborn City. All of us together, Amethyst explains that there's still one Team Meteor base operating in the city, and she wants us four, plus her, to go dismantle it. Because inside that base is Team Meteor's ace in the hole, that Lin woman. Lin is strong. She beats Saphira, the strongest gym leader, so she's a genuine threat. So much so that Amethyst is stepping up to the front lines. Apparently she was staying on the sidelines because Anna, the kid with the Jirachi doll from the orphanage, had instructed her to do so. But she feels like she can no longer stand idly by, because as champion of the Reborn League, it's her responsibility to protect the region. So we head to Devoncorp. Amethyst and Adrian will launch a frontal assault while Victoria, Arclight, and I will launch an attack from the underground. When we breach the building, things immediately begin to go wrong, because this was a setup. One by one, everyone is picked off and captured. I end up being electrocuted to complete unconsciousness. When I wake up, I'm inside a cage opposite to Victoria, who is also in a cage, with an arena. It's then the screen turns on, revealing Lin. She informs us that we'll be playing a game, one where we can reunite with our allies if we battle each other. The winner will move on, while the loser will suffer a punishment. She logs off. Victoria has no problem agreeing and resigns to battle me, saying that it will prove who's more qualified to defeat Team Meteor. Victoria, while helping me storm this base, was extremely bloodthirsty. She is out for blood after Solaris killed Kiki, so it's only right that she's mindlessly focused on getting vengeance. Unfortunately, that bloodlust didn't make her very strong, as my boy Gaiden is able to very easily sweep through her entire team. She laments her weakness as the cell begins to electrocute her. At Victoria's urging, I rush ahead to try and find a way to stop it, and encounter DJ Arclight in the next room, who informs me that the same thing happened to him and Adrian, except that Adrian just refused to fight, and took the punishment to let Arclight proceed. Lin reappears on the screen and tells us to fight, but not before calling us pigs that are made to be hurt and squeal, for we have no control. But what the fuck's a pig? Arclight then gives me a choice, either to fight or refuse to fight. I take a while to think this over, but I fight. Because I beat Victoria, and that makes me more qualified to defeat Lin. Refusing to fight would be an insult to my friend, so Arclight and I do battle. His electric types give me trouble, but a small team change goes a long way. With Zappy setting up Sticky Web support, I'm able to outspeed and eviscerate Arclight's team with Hail-enhanced blizzards from Haze, the Ninetales. Arclight wishes me luck, and then a trapdoor sends him to a floor below. Ascending another staircase, I arrive at the tail end of a battle. Amethyst is facing down Lin's Hydreigon with her Alolan Ninetales. But it fails, and in one turn, Lin secures her victory. Hydreigon decapitates Amethyst. Today, the heart of Reborn falls. She says. I spent a good minute staring at this screen. I couldn't believe it. Again, the game had pulled the rug out from under my feet. I had thought things were finally starting to look up, but now this. Stuck behind bars, I watch as Lin steals Amethyst's Pokemon and leaves. I then give chase, but I don't find Lin, instead finding Zell, the creator of the pulses. They're talking about something called the Pulse 2 and the Arc Pulse, and a Pulse Magnezone, which is right behind them. Apparently Lin had them finish development on all these projects, and had them ship them out as soon as possible. What this Magnezone does, I don't know, but it's a Pulse, and I intend to destroy it. Though, as I challenge them, Zell reveals that Lin ordered that I not be harmed, which is interesting. I'm able to barely edge out a victory with a single revive on Ozuru, because Pulse Magneton is very strong, especially after having to fight a rounded Evolution team, but an extra close combat is all I needed. Defeating the Pulse caused it to explode, knocking me unconscious and cutting power to the building. I check on Zell to see if they survived, which they did and get to their feet, calling for Lumi and Eve to speak. but he doesn't get an answer. Zell is a single person with 3 minds inside. They are always talking, but now it's completely silent, which freaks Zell out and he runs. I regroup with the rest of the team, and thankfully Victoria and Adrian are still alive, injured but alive. Arclight, however, is missing an eye. He's breathing. Lin had tore it out as his punishment. I then inform everyone of Amethyst's defeat and death, which further pisses Victoria off, even more angry at her weakness. Adrian comforts her and reaffirms the importance of boldly pressing forward because, in short, if we don't fight, we can't win. That's all there is to it, and the current state of Reborn is a testament to that statement. So with our spirits renewed, we escape and part ways, though Adrian does tell me to stop by their gym later, because they have a request. Before I go there, I do a few side quests, like fighting off a horde of Kecleons invading a city, solving a puzzle in the library for Shadow Ball. Returning to Adrian, I hear out their request. They want me to become champion, to finish collecting all 18 badges and defeat the Elite Four. To take over Amethyst's place, since thanks to my renown as a plucky young trainer opposing Team Meteor, I'll be widely accepted. Plus, someone needs to oppose Lin, who is technically the new champion, so I might be the best hope against her. I agree without a second thought. And so, my next gym battle begins, as I show Adrian what the future champion of Reborn looks like. In the span of 90 seconds, I get overpowered and am completely swept by Adrian's all-out fairy offensive. Several times. Adrian is really strong. The field effect, Misty Terrain, while from the mainline games, has been thoroughly buffed. Fairy-type moves like Dazzling Gleam get an increase to their base damage, and most dangerously of all, Fairy-type Mons receive a 1.5 times boost to their special defense, which makes all of Adrian's team super tanky. Winning this fight required a pretty big team change, namely Gambit the Bisharp, Swoosh the Crobat, who I forgot to rename, and the star who made it all possible, Bernice the Talonflame. Much like Radamus and his chess field, the best way to stop Adrian is to remove their Misty Terrain, which is pretty tough since it requires a Necrozma using its Z move, the light that burns the sky, or using several poison type moves in quick succession, which isn't very viable since Gardevoir is Adrian's opening play. But I did find another way because anything is possible with Furnace, go! Him. Cooler looking Zamen here. Disclaimer, I have literally never played Zenless Zone Zero, or any Hoyoverse game. That's all. Bernice the Talonflame is key because she can learn Razor Wind, and while holding a power herb, she can activate that move in one turn to clear this terrain and turn it into the Fairy Tail field. Adrian still hits like a truck in this field, but that pesky special defense buff is gone, and I can shred right through their Pokemon, which grants me, the future champion of Reborn, the W. Adrian congratulates me and tells me that Zay and Victoria will handle things here in Reborn City, and trusts in my abilities to put an end to Team Meteor. I'm handed a train ticket to the Tourmaline Desert, where the next gym, Titania's gym, is located. However, before heading to the desert, I make use of some of my hard-earned funds to assist in the building of Reborn. This is a fun little side thing you can do after every gym going forward. Remember how I said there were a few areas in Reborn that weren't fixed up like the slums? Yeah, well, now we can tear those down and put in some top-notch shelters. The desert now calls, so I board a train, and upon arriving, I am jumped by Taka, who challenges me to a battle. He's got a very strong ground-type team, which in the desert is strong as hell, but the power of hail-boosted blizzards can secure me the W. Following his defeat, Taka apologizes, saying that Team Meteor forced him to do this, otherwise that Lin would execute him. But he then realizes something. He understands that he's been unable to make choices all his life, and now he feels like his hands are tied, but he realizes that I have the power to make choices. I've been choosing to oppose Team Meteor, and most importantly, I have been winning, and I tell him that I'm gonna keep winning. He asks if he can come with me. Naturally, I agree, and a new partnership is formed. We don't have a plan, but Taka's gonna follow my lead. Hopefully we'll find a place where he can lie low while exploring the desert in search of Titania's gem. After which, we'll beat Team Meteor together. I love this section of the game. The desert is a pretty big place, and Taka is super talkative. He has a lot to say about everything I find, and there is plenty, such as a bunch of empty Pokeballs, which at this stage of the game is pretty useless. Wonder where they... Oh. Oh. And there's also this cave out here with the fun little multi-level map puzzle thing. You gotta drop down the correct holes, and eventually you find some sick loots, but you also get to learn a bit about Taka. Like his playful side, because upon us dropping down into this cave's deeper levels, he calls dibs on the left side of the cave in case we get trapped down here. Further into the cave, there's also this weird temple that Taka helps me open, because apparently he and his father, Solaris, came down here years ago. They were looking for something, and it's one of the few positive memories Taka has of his father. Taka also reveals that his father paid a woman to have a kid with him, so Solaris, canonically, Rizless. Which is the only thing of value here, cause this place leads to a Gibble poaching spot. But well, I don't really want a Garchomp. I've never cared about Garchomp, so I'm gonna skip to me arriving at the scrapyard, which is a pretty scrappy, but very well-meaning place. This isn't exactly an official town, but it's a home for people who are on the run or leaving behind bad situations. Taka, given his circumstances, takes a liking to the place and gets set up with his own little train as a home. People here live in wrecked trains, and Taka just feels at ease, so he takes a nap for the first time in a good long while. Meanwhile, I head out to find Titania's gym, or pocket dimension, I guess. I entered a train and ended up here. Where is this? What is this? It's not explained. It's very pretty though. Dashing through this meadow, I find some stairs that lead high into the sky, to a floating castle. Inside, there are suits of armor everywhere, and I guess manuscripts written by Titania, where she sort of tells her life story and outlook under the lens of a romantic story. Romantic as in the artistic movement of the 18th century, not like love and junk. She writes poetically about her life in an abstract and flowery way that's got a sprinkling of apathy and lots of metaphors. Heading further in, I'm attacked by moving suits of armor that throw steel types at me. It's nothing I can't handle until I'm ambushed by Lin. She masqueraded as one of the suits of armor, and with my back turned, she struck. I awaken in a bed within a tower with no exit. It loops, but by climbing out a window, I can escape and start traversing these floating islands, seeing Taka along the way. After his nap, he woke up here. Lin had kidnapped him. He apologizes and swears that he'll find a way to reach me. We have to stick together. I come across Titania, who cuts to the chase and asks if I trust her. Which, of course I do. We're on the same side. Titania doesn't know what to make of it, calling me stupid or saintly. I say I lean more towards stupid. She tosses me the sapphire bracelets and tells me this will be over soon. I'm willing to bet I'm playing bait with these, but oh well. Leaving Titania, I enter a cave filled with lava where I do battle with Reshiram. It's not the real dragon, just some kind of manifestation, in recognition of the various choices I've made thus far. This is a trial to test me, and this fight does change depending on what you've done in the game. Cause you could be fighting Zekrom instead, but I'm fighting Reshiram, the Dragon of Ideals, rather than the Dragon of Truth. So I guess it's a testament to my willingness to trust others. Think positive, maybe a little idealist. And that makes sense for me. Even so, Reshiram did not stand a chance. I paralyzed him, earthquaked him, and let the hail murder him. Further into the cave, Lin awaits me, still in a suit of armor. He admires the sapphire bracelets I carry, and then asks if I'd be willing to hand them over. Otherwise, we'll battle, and she'll kill me. Unflinchingly, I say, no deal. But before a battle starts, Titania appears and impales Lin, killing her, which elicits laughter from Titania. But when she removes the helmets, it's not Lin, it's Taka. The real Lin then approaches, congratulating us. Lin taunts Titania's simple approach, saying that someone was bound to get hurt eventually with how reckless she was. But Titania ignores her and charges, trying to go for a kill streak, but Lin evades the strike and knocks Titania to the ground. Lin begins to monologue, calling us weak, but if you'll recall, Aegislash is a Pokemon, so Titania calls upon it to impale Lin through the back, seemingly killing her. Titania says it's over and leaves, saying she feels terrible. I check up on Taka, who gives me his last words, telling me not to worry because it's fine. I really grew to like Taka throughout this entire game. I liked how disinterested he was because he wasn't really into this. He tried undermining the operation whenever he went. I like that, and just how out of his depth Taka felt, because he's so down to earth. So his death was a really tough pill to swallow, especially after getting to go on a little adventure with him. I really wanted to fight alongside him in the final battle, but it is what it is. Lin is dead, and only Solaris remains. I came here for a gym badge, so I'm not leaving without one. Finding Titania, she feels terrible for killing Taka and Lin, wishing that she could forget the feeling of taking a life, but can't, and decides to ignore that feeling. Opting to accept my challenge, winner takes the Sapphire bracelets. We're going to see who is best qualified to guard them. Titania specializes in Steel-type Pokemon, and she battles in the Fairy Tail field, which I mentioned earlier. This field makes dragons and Steel-types stronger, because heroes use swords in Fairy Tales. But most importantly, it makes Aegislash an absolute monster. Like, it gets a combat stage increase when it shifts its forms, which is very strong. Honestly, that Aegislash is the only tough part of the fight because I can pretty handily beat Titania's team thanks to Sticky Web support. But this Aegislash, with its constant buffs, is really hard to play around. So I decide to just heal past it, which just means to whittle it down with Flamethrower and hail chip damage. It's not pretty, but it secures me my W, granting me the 15th gym badge. Though upon winning, Titania tells me not to feel so special, but I feel pretty special. But I'm nowhere near as special as Lin, who miraculously appears alive, calling our battle boring, which... very true. Titania and I are shocked. She should be dead. According to Lin, steel will not make her bleed. Yet, Lin doesn't attack, instead instructing me to leave with the bracelets, because she and I are working together. Which isn't true, and Titania knows that. After Lin leaves, my next stop is Amaria's house, cause she's the next gym leader. However, before that, I do a few side quests, like, okay, do you remember, scratch that, you don't remember? Back at the start, I purchased an ultra rare, super powerful Pokemon from a fisherman, where I was then promptly robbed. This led to a chase all across the Reborn region as my purchased Pokemon kept exchanging hands until now, where after numerous battles and fake leads that I won't show you, because finding all that footage would be crazy super annoying, I encounter the final thief, Horin Rouge, Dashing Rogue. Chasing him into the scrapyard, where here we have a Western style battle where we duel and battle for ownership of this ultra rare mon. I back him into a corner so he has no choice but to unleash the beast, sending out one of the strongest Pokemon to ever exist. A level 5 Magikarp. It just flops around. Horin is so shocked and embarrassed. After everything that he's gone through to secure this fish, he leaves and gives up his life of crime, allowing me to claim my fish, who I chuck into the PC cause I already have Gaiden and an Intimidate user. Soon to be 2 Intimidate users actually, because after this side quest, I go meet up with my old street gang, the Aqua Gang, who have lost their place after the reconstruction effort. Yeah, the neighborhood's a little too nice now to go and do crime since the police actually do their job now. So I rehabilitate them back into society, using my street cred as big shot hero to secure each of them jobs that they would enjoy. It's a little adventure that rewards me with the final member of my team. Say hello to the Flare, who, if I've learned anything from Wolfie BJC's videos, this is not only a cool cat, but is in fact an absolute GOAT. The Flare will be essential going forward, especially with his crazy special defense IV. That accomplished, let's go fight Amaria. But it turns out Lin beat me here because there's a cutscene of Lin informing Amaria about something. I'm never told what it is, but it sets Amaria off, because she does not want to speak to me and opts to go for a swim until Titania gets here. But I came here for a gym battle, and I'm not leaving without one. What follows is a game of hide and seek as I have to look for Amaria in her own gym, needing to find her 3 separate times. Each time I find her, she continues spiraling further and further downwards, citing how fragile we as humans are. She feels insecure and wants to know where Titania is. Why am I here? What did I do? I'm not allowed to be here. Only Titania is allowed to be here. Amaria reveals that she clings to Titania because Titania never leaves her. He always stays whenever Amaria is crying, bleeding, dying, even when it's the 18th time. Amaria knows, even without her full memory, that Titania doesn't love her, because she's tasted the disdain. And that might be true, or it might be Amaria's deep insecurities acting up. Again, she tells me to leave, but I pursue. Amaria starts to resent me, saying that I'm the reason Titania will leave her. She coldly asks if I want to know a secret. I answer yes. But Amaria says she doesn't need to tell me. Because dead men tell no tales. She locks me underwater. I can hopelessly fidget and float around, but there's no exit. Nowhere to surface, and gradually, my consciousness fades. When I awake, I'm on a couch as Amaria and Titania are arguing. Amaria claims to have no idea how I ended up drowning in her gym, but Titania can see right through it because Amaria was the only person here, and is the only person who can lock me down there. It turns out Titania saved me, and then she accuses Amaria of trying to murder me. Amaria then lashes out, saying that it's not a big deal because Titania's done similar things. Amaria tries to embrace Titania, but Titania just pushes her away, calling her nothing more than a scar. And Titania walks out, and so does Amaria, who calls herself Scum and says that she'll be waiting in her gym. I check on Titania, and she tells me that she's done. The relationship is over. No more lies. If Amaria wants to die, so be it. Titania is washing her hands of this and stepping away. She says we'll meet again, and then takes her leave. I go to challenge Amaria. First thing she says is, "I'm sorry." And then she vents to me, saying that in my mind I'm probably saying stuff like, "Amaria's unforgivable. Stop whining. Hand over the badge already. There's nothing wrong with you. Stop being dramatic." To which I say no. I wouldn't call this whining or being dramatic. I'd call it someone going through a serious crisis. A crisis I don't understand. Which is exactly what Amaria says to my response. I don't get it. Of course I don't. But I can still acknowledge it rather than dismiss it. Amaria explains that no matter what she does, she always hears her own voice dismissing her actions and belittling everything she does. And the worst part is that if this self-doubt wasn't there, then Amaria wouldn't know who she is. And she's also still pissed at me because, in one way or another, I am the reason why Titania has left her. My actions led to this, which is actually true. Depending on what you do and say in the game, Titania can stay with Amaria or leave. Amaria then asks how I would prefer to challenge her. Double or single battle? I choose double because sticky web plus discharge tends to go crazy in doubles, but she hits me with the "I never promised to listen" and battles me in singles, where I cannot even beat her opening Stormy. This is a very challenging fight where speed is king, because the water surface field reduces all non-water types by 0.75%. Very big decrease. However, I have a plan, and it just requires a focus sash that I hand over to Zappy. I start by paralyzing the Stormy, slowing it down so that Zappy can tank a full power Scald that doesn't burn. She then survives thanks to the sash, and on the next turn she's now faster and can apply Sticky Web. But when that happens, Stormy gets paralyzed and can't act. So I'm then able to KO it with a full power discharge, bringing out Kingdra. He gets slowed down and then attacks with the Whirlpool that misses, allowing Zappy to hit off another discharge that then paralyzes Kingdra, allowing me to outspeed and kill it on my next turn. Zappy just soloed 2 of Amaria's Mons via pure luck, which wasn't the plan. I actually had a turn-by-turn plan to win this fight that involved changing the field to ice and removing the water, but this works too, because thanks to that uber cracked opening, I just have the numbers advantage to secure a very, very unearned 16th gym badge. But one that did very nearly cost me my life. So, a little earned. With very few words, Amaria just tells me to leave, saying that if anything happens to her, so be it. She is setting me and Titania free. Then she vanishes. With nearly every badge in my collection, it's time to head back to Calcenon City because the situation has changed. Florinia has identified the source of sleepiness that's plaguing Agate City. It's out in the mountains nearby. Hardy wants to go investigate, but Florinia is against it because people are going missing. First Laura, then Anna and Noelle, then Shelly and Kane went missing looking for them. That's 1 Elite Four member, 2 gym leaders, and a former gym leader. Even so, I agree with Hardy that we need to do something even if it is reckless. As for Saphira and Charlotte, they are out of commission, with Saphira having greatly wounded herself in a rage, while Charlotte is tending to her injuries. Meaning that at this stage only Florinia and Hardy are left to confront Team Meteor, 3 if you count me, and 4 when Titania walks in. Here I get to see Titania and Florinia interact for the first time, which is cool because these two are supposed to be close friends. You can tell that they know each other because Titania cuts right to the core of Florinia, identifying that she doesn't want Hardy and I to go, not because it's a big risk. No, it's because she's afraid. So many people have already gone missing, which means things are getting worse. But Titania reminds her, we need to take a risk, otherwise there's no fight. And if we can't fight, we can't win. Titania affirms that Florinia is not a robot. She doesn't run on pure logic because that's impossible. She's human. Like it or not, she's controlled by her emotions. With that, Florinia relents and allows Hardy and I to split up to go put an end to the Agate City sleep spell, and to try and find our missing allies. With Titania putting a lot of actual trust in me, saying that I'm most of what we've got at this point. Which, like I said earlier about how Reborn builds up the player's legend, that's very evident in what's about to transpire. At this stage, I have gone beyond the characters who have somewhat mentored me. Amaria, despite her dismal state, was there for me at the very start of the game, and I've beaten her. Titania was a dominating and even low-key antagonistic force to me, and I've surpassed her. My strength has risen. My level cap is 90. I'm nearly at the apex of all trainers. Every character acknowledges this, because they've seen me overcome so many obstacles and prove that I am a force to be reckoned with. Chapter 6: Falling Meteors vs. Shooting Stars. Regrouping with Hardy, he hands me the rock climb TM, and thus we begin navigating the mountainous Route 4, which, much like the desert, there is so much to discover thanks to all the paths. Plus, you can use the Z move Inferno Overdrive to create new optional pathways, which in one case led me to an inconspicuous shack where I got jumped by a Mecha Breloom. Another case adorably led me to this Bagon who threw himself off the mountain to learn how to fly. He might have gotten a little brain damage from the fall, since they promptly joined me as Aerosmith, who I never use. I then reach my goal, this abandoned glass workstation, one of Team Meteor's last hideouts. Before I enter with Hardy, I see another Absol, watching me. Still, I can only keep moving forward. We drop down inside an elevator, but quickly, sleep overcomes us. Team Meteor realizes that we're here. Somehow, I awaken, but Hardy is down for the count. I climb out of the elevator and follow a trail of ice to a Glaceon and Espeon who help me navigate the base. Oh, and if the Pokémon Reborn footage looks different, that's because it is. Cause I, for the first time after playing this game for like 3 months, I updated my game, and the update altered the window size and resolution, which I think made the game look better. Further into the base, I find both Anna and Noelle in some kind of stasis machine, where with Espeon I managed to rouse them, though Anna's a little weirder than usual. She says that it's too soon for her to wake up, and that this wasn't supposed to happen. The boy with the broken wing, Taka, he wasn't supposed to die. But then she stops talking, saying that she can still fix this. She urges me to keep going forward and to not worry, and then she returns to her slumber. Talking to Noelle doesn't yield any answers because he says he's just following Anna's orders, or Nostra's orders, the Jirachi doll. Those two are weird, but I can't drag them kicking and screaming, so I snag a Meteor keycard and head to the deepest level of the base. Inside, I am confronted by Zell, who seems a little unhinged. Apparently the Glaceon and Espeon belong to him, or, well, the two other people inside his head. However, those two others don't seem to be in his head anymore. Previously, whenever a different speaker in Zell was talking, that letter would be capitalized, but now it's just Zell, capital Z, lowercase e, and I. He yells at me to give back the other two voices. I apparently took them away when I destroyed the Pulse Magnezone. You see, the Magnezone is what was binding all three people in one body. Zero then calls upon Pulse Hypno, the pulse responsible for putting Agate City to sleep, and then uses it to summon Shelly and Kane. They had made it here first and were then mind-controlled by this Hypno, which also happened to Laura, as she stumbled upon here and was then made into bait, resulting in the capture of Anna, Noelle, Shelly, and Kane. But that doesn't matter as I engage in battle against Kane and Shelly. A full-blown 6v12. I'm the 6. Kane and Shelly are underleveled compared to me, but they are not pushovers. Shelly even uses my beloved sticky web against me, meaning neither of us get to benefit from it, because I used it on her. This is an overwhelming battle, but it's one that I'm able to win by dropping Ozuru the Primate for Swoosh the Crobat. Speed is king, and poison plus flying is very useful here. Especially when he absolutely clutches up right here, leech life into just barely surviving a charge beam, allowing me to get my W. However, my victory is short-lived because Zell then has Pulse Hypno do something to me. I fade in and out of consciousness, and in my inebriated state, I can't understand what's going on around me. Before I know it, I'm in a battle against some unknown foe. They seem to specialize in dark types, but aren't anything too strong. My zappy sticky web is clutch. The Umbreon they have is very annoying though, and that thing had to struggle itself to death because, yeah, I was not out-damaging it. Upon winning, I'm thrown into another 6v12, this time against an Ice Specialist and a Psychic Specialist. However, it is easier. The only hard part about this fight is that it's preceded by 2 other battles. But say it with me, thanks to Sticky Web, I'm able to win. Though I did have to hard focus on the ice types because they all just spammed Blizzard. Against all odds in this gauntlet of 3 battles against a combined 30 Pokemon with only my team of 6, I succeed. And my reward is Void. Regaining the ability to move, my vision clears, but I'm not in the Meteor base anymore. I'm out in space? In the dark. Alone. My team is still injured, so the battles that happened were real. I venture further into this void and come across a train worker. The man who boarded me onto the train for Reborn City. An insignificant NPC in this game. But the thing is, he's dead. He died in the initial train station bombing. Past him, I find Julia, who repeats the first thing she said to me. Then Victoria, but she introduces herself as Kiki. These aren't people, they're apparitions of my actions, my memories. There's the room with all the starters where I first picked up Gaiden. I find Kane, who doesn't repeat his first words. No, he's real. For whatever reason, the 2 of us have been thrown into this dark world. He says that we should stick together, but Kane walks off on a path that doesn't exist. Alone again, I continue down the path laid before me. I find Anna, who appears to be real. She tells me that my light shines brighter than all others, and that I need to keep on shining no matter what. She tells me to hang in there because someone, a she, will make a path for me soon. Anna then asks me a really weird question.
If 2 stars fall like passing ships in the night, do you think they would wish upon each other? If that would happen, then which wish would win?
Then, instead of vanishing, Anna just jumps off screen. Weird. I find a memory of Kane. His parents are fighting. Kane is moody in the back while his sister Aya is pleading at them to get along. I move past it, seeing Kane eventually abandon his family and leave without bidding his sister goodbye. From then on, Aya blamed herself for the constant fighting and for driving Kane away. I then immediately find Kane, who's been run ragged by this place. He says that he would rather forget everything he saw and then has a moment of clarity where he realizes that he's only ever ran and that it's because of that he doesn't know what to do or what he wants to do. So then he turns the question on me and asks if I have a plan for after everything is wrapped up, to which I respond, yes. I'm gonna make a video. Kane gets pretty depressed because he can't answer that question like I can. He can't find anything to ever make him settle down. He's always on the move, which is true for all of his actions thus far. Kane has never been able to physically or emotionally settle down, except for now, when there's no other option. So, yeah, he decides to sit down and think, but urges me to keep going forward. It doesn't feel good, but I keep moving. There has to be a way out. Next, I find a mysterious woman who tells me a story about a meteor that died happily as it burned up in the atmosphere. She ends her story by asking me to make her smile. I have no idea who she is, but when I spoke to her, I heard the voice of Radamus, implying some kind of connection. Then nothing. Where I am then spoken to by an unknown voice who laughs. They say I don't know who my real ally is. I don't know who let me get this far. Then they ask if I've been having fun, saying I'm just like them because why else would I keep playing? I don't know who that was, but a path has been made, leading me to the Pulse Hypno machine. I don't know what's going on, but maybe this thing is the cause, so I engage it. As far as I can tell, it only knows Hypnosis and Dream Eater, so it was a pushover. But destroying the Pulse didn't accomplish anything. I'm still trapped, so I keep moving and eventually find Gossip Gardevoir, who's musing on if this is what it's like to die, saying she doesn't mind because she's happy to have been of use to Radamus. She muses about how she harbors strong feelings for Radamus, but those feelings are unrequited because A. Radamus still loves his deceased wife, B. She's a Pokemon, and Radamus ain't into that. So she resolves to just go to sleep for a long, long time. After that, I encounter the ghost of Taka, who pleads with me that he doesn't want to give up. He wants to fight like me, fight alongside me. He begs me not to forget him and vanishes. Then I relive every single death I've had to witness, where at the end of this long road of nothingness, Luna appears, the lost girl, guiding me out of the void while she stays in my place. In a flash of white, I'm back at the Meteor base, surrounded by Radamus the Psychic Gym Leader, Sarah the Ice Gym Leader, and an unconscious Shelly. A lot has happened. It turns out Luna, the Dark-type Gym Leader, came here to back me up, thanks to Anna contacting her, and she brought Radamus and Sarah. They had a leisurely walk through the base thanks to me defeating every grunt and clearing the path, but when they arrived, it was after I had beaten Kane and Shelly, and the reason I lost consciousness was cause Pulse Hypno then mind-controlled me. To try and free me, Luna softened me up with a battle. She was the Dark-type trainer I beat, and then sent in Radamus and Sarah to take me down. Yet, as we know, that wasn't enough. As Zell puts it, with me on the opposing side, Team Meteor is virtually... which Gossip Gardevoir understands, because at the current stage, there really aren't many trainers who could stop me. Hardy, the 17th gym leader, is still asleep. Saphira, the 18th gym leader, is greatly wounded. The champion is dead. I have already beaten every other gym leader. My rivals, Kane, Victoria, and Fern, never stood a chance. Of the Elite Four, 2 members, Anna and Laura, are captured. The other 2 members, Elle, is already working for Team Meteor, and Heather is currently missing. No one can stop me, but a black hole absolutely can. In a bid to protect Radamus, Gossip Gardevoir creates a miniature black hole to destroy the pulse, and in doing so, consumes me and Kane. That's where I was, the other side of a black hole. Luna, then using what power she had, maybe in conjunction with Anna, saved me. She pulled me out at the cost of herself. Or, well, she showed me the way out. Apparently Shade, the ghost-type gym leader, he pulled me out before vanishing. But if Luna was the she who Anna was referring to, then who was the unknown voice that laughed at me in the void? It's a question I can't answer. But now that we're all caught up, Anna and Noelle show up, with Anna cheering that I made it back. I mean, I saw her in the void, so somehow she knew everything that went down. Crazy, but even crazier is that it turns out Radamus is the father of both Anna and Noelle, though he apparently hasn't seen them since they were actual babies. Because Radamus put his kids into hiding and abandoned them after their mother died, because Team Meteor was tracking him down. Why were they tracking him down? Well, you see, Radamus is the reason why there are 4 pieces of magical jewelry that are needed to open the gates to Arceus. He had spread the jewelry around the region to keep it out of the hands of Team Meteor. That's a lot of information. I know, but we aren't done yet because now Eve and Lumi walk in. Who's that? Well, they are the E and L of Zell. Let's have another flashback, because do you remember when I journeyed to Ametrine City to find Heather? Well, while looking for Heather, I found this rundown house with this busted up prototype pulse and the Journal of Lumi. It's there I learned that Lumi originally suffered from a mysterious fatal disease. In response, her older sister, Eve, started studying mechanics and biology in order to find a way to cure her sister. This led to Eve creating a machine capable of amplifying a Pokemon's abilities to extreme levels. The goal was to amplify a Pokemon's healing abilities. However, the project was then hijacked by Zero, the man who would go on to become the Z of Zell. He had heard about this incredible machine and then took Lumi hostage in order to have Eve create pulses for Team Meteor. But while Eve was building the prototype pulse and testing it on a Magneton, who, while receiving power from the pulse machine, ended up evolving and fusing its 3 Magneton into a single Magnezone, and doing the same to Zero, Eve, and Lumi, putting all 3 minds into one body. Which did save Lumi's life, because as her mind was now in Zero's body, she would continue to live. But without their minds, Eve and Lumi's bodies were just empty husks that were kept in storage, in the location where I had found Anna and Noelle. Those two then explained that Lumi and Eve helped them escape Team Meteor after they were captured. Because after I had beaten the Pulse Magnezone back in Reborn City, Lumi and Eve returned to their real bodies. And they helped me navigate the Meteor base by sending their Glaceon and Espeon, respectively, to help me out. And now they are both joining our side. Our numbers are steadily increasing once more. We even roused Shelly, and then all agreed to head back to Calcinon City where we can plan our next move. Oh, and we took Hardy too. In Calcinon, characters are spread around, and I really wish I could go in depth, but you see the length of this video. So instead of talking about how adorable Shelly is while befriending Titania, I go talk to Eve, the creator of the pulses, who informed me that Team Meteor has 4 left. The Pulse Mine, the thing that's creating a barrier around Labrador City. Pulse Clawitzer, it's a railgun that's stupidly powerful and very inefficient and inaccurate thanks to Eve's calculated mistakes. I've heard of those two, but the next two are the most concerning. Pulse 2. This is a weird one. It's not like the previous pulses, because instead of being tailor-made, it's been mass-produced and given out to every single member of Team Meteor. It has 2 effects. The first is increasing a Pokemon's power while suppressing their will, making them subservient even if they were stolen. Arc Pulse. This is a project that Eve wasn't able to finish, but it's designed to empower the deity and make it subservient to whoever becomes its trainer. However, this requires both an Arceus, which Team Meteor doesn't have, and some kind of unknown power source. A power source that is apparently found in Agate City, which is why they forced the entire population to fall asleep. They're apparently digging for something. I can't let them get their hands on whatever that is, because if the Arc Pulse gets off the ground, that would be catastrophic. And Florinia agrees, so she contacts Ciel and Samson, the gym leaders from the Agate Circus. Ever since I took down the Pulse Hypno, the people of Agate City have started waking up, and Team Meteor has scrambled to regain control of the city. Ciel and Samson are trying to hold them off, but they're outnumbered. Hardy, Titania, Shelly, Florinia, and I all head to Agate City. It's time to take it back. Heading into the city from the south entrance, north of Radamus' gym, I find battles everywhere. Titania is fending off Meteor agents to the east, with Florinia to the west. Shelly supports by flanking, and the trio gradually encircle Team Meteor, while me and Hardy are supposed to barrel through to the center of the city, crashing through Meteor grunts, agents, and elites alike. It's an actual raid. There's no better way to describe it. This section absolutely rocks, culminating in me reaching the center of town where Team Meteor's leaders lie in wait. Solaris, Lin, and Sirius. They stand over a defeated Samson and Ciel. Lin leaves after ordering Solaris to engage me. It's clear she's already become the leader of Team Meteor in all but name. Despite hating the fact he's been given a command, Solaris steps forward and challenges me to single combat, admitting that as an individual he respects me, praising my resolve, initiative, and skill. but he won't stand by as I destroy all of his efforts. So, our final battle begins. It's fieldless. He packs a strong team, but my matchup is better. I've got solid counters for his entire squad. The only real threat to me is his Garchomp. Sorry, I meant his Mega Garchomp that's been enhanced by the Pulse 2. Earlier, I didn't tell you what exactly it did, but the Pulse 2 makes Pokemon stronger by giving them perfect IVs and maxed out EVs across all stats. This Garchomp here has 252 EVs in every single stat. It is simultaneously the strongest, fastest, and tankiest Garchomp it could possibly be. But it still isn't enough to beat the perfect counter that is Haze, the Alolan Ninetales. Beaten, its hero Solaris officially loses his role as Team Meteor's leader, as Sirius tries to restrain him because his team is down, he is all alone, because all of his loyalists have either been arrested or killed in prior attacks. So Solaris runs. He escapes, leaving Lin in charge with Sirius as her right hand. Sirius chases after Solaris, while Hardy frees Ciel and Samson, and they take on the grunts here. It's up to me to pursue Lin as the strongest trainer on our side. My chase takes me to an underwater cave because Lin has apparently walked here. She doesn't swim, use a Pokemon, or a device. No, she walks on the lake's floor. Inside, I observe as Lin. She creates the energy source needed to power the Arc Pulse, and then with her bare hands she drags it outside and escapes. That thing was massive. At this point, it should be clear that Lin isn't human. Her strength, her ability to survive death, everything I just mentioned. Lin is more than just a trainer. She's a monster. Back on the surface, the gym leaders are confronting Lin when she sends out a Gardevoir. Gossip Gardevoir has been enhanced and controlled by a Pulse 2. She has Gossip launch another miniature black hole, hitting Samson and sending him to the void. Everyone is so stunned at this blatant murder that Lin is able to fly away unimpeded on her Hydreigon. Still, despite that loss, we did manage to take back Agate City and rounded up countless members of Team Meteor, effectively gutting their numbers. And since I'm here in Agate, I waste no time in challenging Hardy for my 17th gym badge. He uses rock types. I win. Trick Room, Iron Defense, Flash Cannon, Bronzong was just a really hard counter. I just needed the rest of my team to buy time. So yeah, that's the second easiest gym badge of my life. And now it's time to break through Labrador City, where Team Meteor has been holding onto it thanks to their Pulse Mr. Mime. But we can bypass it thanks to our inside man, Bennett. Who's that? It's the son of Sarah, the Ice-type gym leader, and I have not mentioned him till now, mainly because I wanted to see if I could go through this entire video without mentioning him. Turns out, I couldn't. He's been joined up with Team Meteor for a while, but that was just to pay off a debt, and now he's on our side, since he doesn't agree with, mass destruction. So, just like the Trojan horse, our main man goes inside and unlocks the door for us, allowing the full force of all the allies I've made to charge into the city. Radamus, the Psychic-type gym leader, Saphira, the Dragon gym leader, Hardy, the Rock gym leader, Charlotte, the Fire gym leader, Laura, a member of the Elite Four, Victoria, my rival, Noelle, the Normal-type gym leader, Hal, that guy, Julia, the Electric gym leader, Amaria, the Water gym leader. Eve and Lumi even lend a hand. It feels like a Fire Emblem endgame chapter, all while a sick, awesome remix of the Ultra Necrozma theme is just playing. This is one of the best moments in the entire game. It really does feel like all of my actions have built up to this. And this is the final clash with Team Meteor. This is their last stronghold. It doesn't matter that every grunt is powered up by the Pulse 2. It doesn't matter that they have 252 EVs in every stat. They're still nothing compared to me and Reborn's gym leaders. Before long, I'm at the center of Labradora just in time to see Lin defeat Saphira, the strongest gym leader, without even summoning a single Pokemon. Saphira only survives thanks to the intervention of Shelly, Titania, Larinia, and Sarah. These 5 then band together to oppose Lin, who now undergoes her own 6v30 gauntlet. Just like me for real. While they handle her, my job is to disable the Pulse Clawitzer. On the way, I partner up with Victoria and we end up finding Solaris. He was captured by Sirius and tortured by Lin. She even plucked out one of his eyes. Victoria tries to take out her aggression on Solaris and prepares to kill him, but she's stopped by Cal, who doesn't want her to give in to bloodlust. Ever since Kiki's death, Victoria has been out for blood and has just lost her chill. She's been consumed by vengeance and disregards rational thought. Cal is only able to get through to her because he reveals that he never intended to destroy the Academy. Back then, on that mountain, he had actually sabotaged the machine and saved Camerupt, and he even saved Kiki's Medicham. As it turns out, it really was me and Victoria's fault. If we had never meddled in the affair, Kiki would have actually lived. At these facts, Victoria relents, deciding that Solaris isn't worth it. He's already lost everything, and he's not in charge of Team Meteor. So there's no point in losing herself. Leaving me and Solaris, he asks me if I want him dead. To which I respond, no. Even after everything, I wouldn't be able to. Call me weak, but that's just not me. He says that's a shame, and then he leaves to confront Lin, while I confront the Pulse Clawitzer, which despite some heavy resistance from the now demoted Meteor Grunt Zero, I'm able to accomplish. This Pulse is not a pushover with its monstrous attack stat, but I cannot be stopped. After it's done and dusted, Zero loses his will, but is saved by Lumi, who, after spending a few years sharing a body with him, can't really bring herself to hate him. So she escorts him to safety, and I go check up on how the battle with Lin is going. We have lost sight of Lin, and Saphira is now going feral on Dr. Connell. That bastard from so many pages ago. She wants to murder him outright, but Cal and Sarah are keeping her at bay. You see, Saphira was abused and even assaulted by Dr. Connell while she was in his orphanage, so her hatred is very justified. Yet she doesn't get her revenge as Lin reappears with supernatural speed and knocks her unconscious, dragging Dr. Connell away. With the rest of our forces either occupied or too injured, it falls to me to pursue Lin once again, leading me into the depths of Labrador City's power grid. It's dark and creepy down here, with me occasionally hearing screams. And then, at the furthest reaches, I find what's left of Dr. Connell. He's been mutilated and had his body stuffed into the Pulse, while off to the side, the Pulse Mine engages me in a battle, puppeting Dr. Connell's body. It's a grisly sight, and the music from this battle only makes me more uncomfortable. Pulse Mr. Mime is on the field from turn 1, and he's a menace to get rid of with his insane defenses and Wonder Guard. But, well, this battle is against the scumfuck named Connell, so honor in battle is hardly relevant, as I shove Ultra Potions down Pad's throat to boost him to +6 Calm Mind, and then proceed to destroy everything with Uber Shadow Balls. At the end of the battle, with Connell dead and the Pulse Mime gone, I return to my allies, who have proceeded north into Saphira's gym, because there's a back exit into this building that leads to the mountains. Apparently, Lin, Admin Sirius, Fern, and Blake had managed to get away, They're all that remains of Team Meteor, and we are not going to let them get away. However, our search comes up empty, and then I have to deal with an angry Saphira, who's furious that Dr. Kana was killed by Lin and not her. She goes off on a tirade yelling about how normalcy is just a word used by people who delude themselves into thinking that their lifestyle is correct. She says that she'd rather be the most insane woman on the planet than have to subscribe to someone else's idea of being a normal and stable person, going as far as to claim that morality is more vile than malice. To which I'll have to respectfully disagree. As she tries to leave, she finds that the doors are straight up gone. Like a Sims player condemning someone to death, the doors have been deleted by Hera, the roaring clown. She's back, thanks to Lin, who connected her with Labrador's internet. And now she somehow has the ability to warp everything in this building. Don't ask me how, that's just how it is. She then forces all of us to do battle in what she calls the Labradora Tournament of Booty. I actually quite like this. It injects a bit of levity in these very dire and serious circumstances, while still keeping up the tension. The bracket is this: if you know the characters, you know. For the first round, I'm partnered with Cal, and am facing off with Eve and Lumi, who, while they don't want to fight us, they give it their all to ensure that we are as strong as we can be. And this fight happens to be in an inverse field, which made things slightly annoying, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle. Though after the battle, Lumi and Eve cease to exist as Terra deletes their character files, just like Monica, using whatever power she has. It's grim, but there's nothing I can do about it except prepare for the next round, where now I'm battling Cal, and he is certainly tough. He has fire types galore, and in this field that boosts fire type damage, yeah, he is very tough. But he does not stand a chance against the bane of Pokémon VGC. The absolute GOAT, the Flare, the Incineroar, who is armed with Fake Out, Intimidate, and an Assault Vest. I know, I'm doubling up on Fire and Dark types, but this cool cat is so worth it, being more than enough firepower to defeat Cal. At his defeat, Cal accepts it with a smile and says that he has faith in me, and everyone is counting on me. With his last words, he then begs me to save Saphira, I think. After that, my next bout is with Florinia on the glitch field. Now this is a welcome change, and is actually so much easier than Cal. I have two fire types. Florinia is the grass type gym leader, so I'm able to win quite handily. Yet at her loss, Florinia is okay with it, and lets me know that she's not down for the count yet. She's working on something. Which brings me to the final round, where I'm facing off against Saphira. But this isn't just any battle. Nah, it's my 18th gym battle. Made even more serious by Saphira realizing why Terra's doing this. Terra's not some Team Meteor loyalist. Terra's not actually trying to slow us down. No, her main goal is to make things interesting for a third party. Besides, Terra already has a preferred winner. Me. This is entertainment. Everything has been for entertainment. Chapter 7: Hero's Challenge. An outside force has been watching me this whole time. An outside force has been manipulating events for their own enjoyment. Terra has been assisting them. And now, for that reason, I've gotta challenge Saphira at full power within her gym with her preferred field. Because that's better entertainment. Yet, it also marks my final test of courage and heroism. I've been very light on details for gym challenges before the leader, but Saphira's is worth mentioning. Plus, with her personality, she's actually one of my greatest rivals, despite how late she is getting her spotlight. So I organize my team, for the only time. Because, as far as I know, the moment I step into that gym, there is no turning back. The moment I walked into this tournament, there was no more buying items or catching Pokemon. And for Saphira, there's no changing out my team. So I bring in my squad: Gaiden, Commissioner, Zappy, Haze, Hads, and the all-time great, the Flare. Saphira's gym is this hellscape, rocky alcoves atop a pit of lava, with gold doubloons strewn about, where in the back lies a treasure chest. It asks me what is most precious to me. I answer, my friends. Then I'm asked what's more important, my value to them or their value to me. I answer, my value. Because I like making people laugh. I like being able to support others. I make videos to entertain people. Hell, I'm becoming a teacher to educate others. So I think the value I provide is more important than what I receive. And to those answers, Saphira just gets pissed off, asking if I really think I'm that selfless. I don't think that's being selfless. I think she's misusing it, honestly. I think it's just more self-awareness on my part. While Saphira instead thinks it's a roundabout way of keeping myself secure. And she even tries hitting me with the, "Are you really sure you have value to them?" But I overcame my self-doubt a while ago, so I respond with a resounding yes. Further angering her because to Saphira, being human is to know inferiority, because certainty is just when people stop looking for the truth within themselves. But that's fucking stupid, and it just tells me how dissatisfied Saphira is all the time. And that's just sad. Thanks to that brief questionnaire, my most precious thing is now inside this chest, and I have to defend it. As this is now a tower defense game, wild Pokemon powerful night trainers are on the way to steal my treasure chest. I have to defeat every single enemy, and I have no healing in between each battle. I am fully on my own. I need to fend off varied teams, strong dragons, wild monkeys. This really is the greatest test of individual strength thus far. And it is stressful because they come at you from every direction. Staying on top of it all is so tough. I'm running around in this time-sensitive gauntlet trying to engage every threat. Well, if you save in the wrong spot, you can just guarantee your defeat right then and there. But those battles aren't enough because this entire section ends with a boss battle. This giant Steelix that Saphira had way back then, yeah, it's here now. And it is so tanky. But with my two fire-type Intimidate users, yeah, it wasn't as much of a threat as it looked like. After all of that, I'm rewarded with a heal and still no exit. Because now is when Saphira is ready to throw down. No one changing up my team. So I begin the fight of my life. Saphira is the final gym leader. But like all others, she stands no chance against my tried and true. Sticky Web plus Focus Sash Zappy is my opening play, and it is the key to my victory. Especially when the AI goes a little crazy. Like, against my commissioner, Saphira's Garchomp gets so spooked by its flamethrower that it brings in Charizard. But when Charizard's here, every time I hit it with Flamethrower, she just wastes her full restores on Charizard, when it doesn't even go down to half health. And after I exhaust all the full restores, then it Mega Evolves? I mean, can she only Mega when she has no full restores? Doesn't matter, since Gaiden Rock Slide outspeeds and KOs. And then I spent about 10 minutes stalling her Ace Dragonite by swapping between the Flare and Haze, which actually allows Hail Chip to KO the beast, securing the 18th and final badge. Yet, while I bask in my victory, Saphira wallows in her loss. trying to imprint her worldview on me. Everyone is corrupt, no one is on your side, and no one will listen. However, my journey has proved that wrong. I've met people, made allies, and plenty was done by just listening. She then tries to drag me down further, saying I play God like a doll with too much power. She questions if I really think I can solve any problem by battling. And no, I don't think that because plenty of problems were solved by me asking for help or hearing people out, like with Taka or putting my trust in Bennett. Because while I don't speak, I can still listen. So that's what I do. I listen as Saphira rants about how powerless she feels. She was always at Dr. Connell's mercy and thought that if she could kill him, she would regain control. But it's clear that even if she did do that, she would be no better off. So finally, she tells Tara to put her down and is deleted. Now, Saphira is interesting and is fully defined by her past, which, for very good reasons, I understand why she's like that. But everything she believes cannot be applied unilaterally. Following that, I enter my final battle against Terra, which is only made possible by Florinia, who has counter-hacked Terra and forced her to materialize before me. Out in the open and unable to use her full god hacking powers, Terra, in an absolute gamer move, deletes all the fonts, and I am then forced to battle her without being able to see what moves I'm using. However, I am in the glitch field, and I'm that guy who orders all of his moves personally, so all I gotta do is remember where Calm Mind is, and my little Espeon paths can easily secure me a victory that I can't even read. Just like a real Pokemon fan. Following her defeat, Terra starts talking about Lin, comparing her to Florinia. Then she wonders aloud why Lin has stopped laughing, or if maybe Lin is watching from somewhere far away and laughing. Terra accepts her defeat and hopes that her actions have at least extended Lin's game. Terra deletes herself. I then continue forward, while Florinia stays behind to free every other victim, and wishes me good luck. I exit and have my final encounter with Solaris, where he attempts to kill Lin, impaling her with his Garchomp. But like before, she can't be killed. The force of their battle throws me aside, and when I come to, Solaris is already dead, having been torn apart in the battle. Ahead of me now is Victory Road, where Lin, Blake, Fern, and Sirius are fleeing. I begin my infiltration alone, but gradually everyone joins me and assists me. Whether it's solving gemstone puzzles, navigating rails, drawing attention, fighting ghosts, planting explosives, or just backing me up in a battle, everyone works together to help me put an end to Team Meteor. It is a wonderful set piece where everyone gets to shine, but oh my god, this victory road is too long. It just keeps going and it doesn't end. There are parts I love, but man, some of these minecart puzzles are so annoying. I have to pull up a map to see what connects to what because, listen, I got to my limit and you need to do 4 of these. Alright, it's so big. Along the way, I corner Sirius, who is still using Aya as a hostage. Remember when she was kidnapped? Yeah, let's fix that. Though it kinda does just work itself out on its own, as Saphira pushes Sirius into lava and that kills him, freeing Aya and allowing me to go track down Blake, who, as an ice-type specialist without snow, has no chance if I set up Sticky Web. With his defeat, his brother Cal takes him into custody. Which then brings me to Fern, who actively tries to assassinate me using his Decidui. But I thwart his attempt, and when I am mere feet away from confronting him, Fern runs. He calls me the same as Lin, saying I'm cold and empty of anything except destruction. He even says I'm worse because I pretend to uphold some moral righteous cause and calls it downright disgusting, saying he never wants to see me again. But it's Fern. So at the very end of Victory Road, he jumps me. Here, he lets all of his rage and hate towards me run free, saying I've only made it this far through luck and cheating, asking why. Why am I special? Why I, ignoring all of my accomplishments thus far? He literally says that. Why do I deserve to be the one ahead of everyone else? Why do I deserve to be so powerful instead of Fern? He then swears to defeat me and steal all of my badges. Because, if you'll remember, Fern only has 8 badges, not the full 18. And thus begins Fern's pathetic last stand. Unprepared, I just wiped the floor with Fern. This was the easiest Fern fight in the game. At his defeat, Fern cries out, "Why does it have to be you?" He wants it to be him. He wanted to be the big damn hero going around saving Reborn. He wanted to be the next champion. That's how he started. His whole goal originally was to become champion just so that people would smile at him. His parents and Florinia never did. At the trainer school, even when he was in charge, no one liked him. Everyone was glad to be rid of him after I beat him. Fern calls them cowards, but then Titania arrives and she and Florinia call Fern out for his entitlement. He wants people to be nice to him, to smile at him, but he's an asshole to everyone and never goes out of his way to help anyone. Apparently because no one would ever want to help him. Of course, no one likes Fern. He's unlikable and refuses to change. Lin then appears to validate his feelings of weakness by positing that when they create a new world, they will make it fair. Though Titania calls them out, saying they would just be giving themselves immense privilege. Fern finally admits that he only cares about being on top, being untouchable and unchallenged, which he can do with Lin because he's on the winning side. So he's untouchable. Wrong, and Titania proves it by lunging forward, grabbing Fern by the face, and throwing him down the stairs, revealing just how powerless he is. Fern calls out for Lin to help, but come on, she was never gonna assist him. She flat out tells him no, and leaves. Florinia collects Fern and the two leave, with Fern asking me to give Lin one for him, because now he understands that I'm the only one who stands a chance against her. So, I follow Lin, and find myself at the steps of the Pokémon Reborn League. Lin lies beyond the Elite Four. At this point in the game, I no longer have any of the special jewelry. Each of them are in the hands of the Elite Four, and they aren't trying to stop me from reaching Lin. No, they are here as my final obstacle, to make sure that I'm capable of stopping Lin, meaning it's time to show them what the future champion of Reborn is capable of. This is my final team. Gaiden the Greninja, Commissioner the Arcanine, Zappy the Galvantula, Paths the Espeon, Haze the Alolan Ninetales, and the Flare, the Incineroar. And they're all kitted out with good moves and EVs. Stepping through all 18 doorways, there are 18 doorways, one for each badge, it takes like 2 minutes to walk through all of them. I begin my last challenge as a hero. My first opponent is Heather, the girl with the Salamence, and she is a tough opener. She uses flying and poison types, along with Tailwind, and that combination is very brutal, because flying types invalidate my sticky web strategy. However, it does not invalidate a Bronzong with Iron Defense and Calm Mind, which allows me to set up to +6 and then mindlessly sweep through her team. Sorry, Heather. After the battle, Heather apologizes for all the trouble she put me through. She then urges me forward and hands me the Ruby Ring. My next battle pits me against Laura and Bennett, who's here for reasons I didn't explain. Laura thanks me for everything I've done for her and her sisters, and she and Bennett challenge me to see how well I can adapt. They both specialize in grass and bug types. And this is a really good fight, cause I actually had a turn-by-turn plan for how to beat them. The key was obviously my commissioner, who can destroy their grassy terrain by hitting a Z Inferno Overdrive. Also, Incineroar. Fire good. Following their defeat, Laura tells me to find the beauty in all of my struggles, which I appreciate, while Bennett hands over the sapphire bracelets. I proceed and engage the next Elite Four member, L, the man who summoned an Arceus a while ago. He calls me a mad monster because of my unwavering will to proceed, then renounces his loyalty to Team Meteor with Solar's dead, claiming that his sole allegiance now is to Arceus, and in the interest of Arceus, he wants me to stop Lin before she does something catastrophic. Then, to test my resolve, we battle. L is a dragon normal type specialist, who leads with a Noivern that can outspeed and one-shot my whole team. But I've encountered threats like this before, so the same trick will work thrice. Throw a focus sash on Zappy, then paralyze the dragon, giving me the forward momentum to set up Sticky Web and power through L's team. Upon losing, he hands me the Emerald Brooch, and one more time he tells me to stop Lin, because not even Arceus knows how this will end. Leading me to the final member of the Elite Four, Anna, the Psychic and Fairy type specialist. Upon entering, she cuts right to the chase and drops this bombshell on me. This isn't the first time this has happened. Everything from the bombing of the Reborn train station to the numerous battles against Team Meteor, Hori and Kiki's deaths, Amaria and Titania's drama, all of that happened before in a previous iteration of this world. Except with one major difference. I wasn't there. In fact, originally I, along with the champion, Amethyst, were supposed to die in that train bombing. In that past world, Fern was actually the hero, stopping and thwarting Team Meteor alongside his own cast of allies. But ultimately, he failed, and Team Meteor's goals were on the cusp of success. However, Anna intervened with her Jirachi and made a wish to try and save the world. A wish that reshaped reality so much that Nostra, her Jirachi, couldn't maintain its real form, reducing it to the doll she carries everywhere. The wish even came at a great cost, the sacrifice of a boy who was reduced to a shadow of their original form. But in exchange for that, I was brought forward as their hero. While I traveled reborn, Anna worked in the background to ensure that I would grow strong enough to oppose Lin. And now Anna stands before me as my last test to prove if I have the strength needed to defeat Lin. So allow me to show Anna what it means to set up stall as I defeat her with a single Pokemon. Esperoba, the Bronzong, who equipped with the leftovers and armed with Calm Mind, Iron Defense, just tears through her team. Not even her Metagross or her Jirachi could stop my Metal Mental Menace. Psychic and Shadow Ball go burr, granting me victory. At her defeat, Anna is ecstatic and thanks me for playing this game with her. She explains that this entire conflict is due to a game between her and Lin, who she knows from Dr. Kano's orphanage. There, the two of them played chess together. Anna, being the daughter of a chess-themed gym leader, was nigh unbeatable for everyone except Lin, forming a rivalry. One that reached a breaking point after Anna turned an impossible situation around, causing Lin to crash out. She ranted and raved and ran out onto the streets of Reborn, becoming a runaway, where she eventually fell into the underground citadel beneath Reborn, where Adrian was kept in chronostasis. If you'll recall from several chapters ago, Adrian saw a kid climbing around the citadel's walls. That was Lin. And then something happened, transforming her into the vile villain I stand to oppose. Anna goes on saying that when the new Lin appeared, she knew it was still that same kid she beat at chess. And Anna feels terrible for letting this silly rivalry develop so far, because at the end of the day, as we know from Terra, this entire string of events is just a game to Lin. A game she enjoys. Anna hands me the amethyst pendant and wishes me luck. Stepping past her, I ascend the stairs and arrive at the final arena of the Pokémon Reborn League, where standing opposite of me in these emerald halls is none other than Lin. A woman of few words, she claims my perseverance was predictable. And now that I'm here, there's no need for words. Beginning my battle against the Pokémon League champion and her stolen Pokémon. She leads with Amethyst Ninetales, while I engage it with Zappy. You know what I'm gonna do. It's called Sticky Web. Though, after I paralyze it, Lin switches and sends out Samson's Conkeldurr, who I counter with Gaiden the Greninja and his Protean, limiting the damage I take and defeating it, causing her to send out Ninetales once more, who I counter with Esperoba, but Lin swaps out to Delphox, previously belonging to Ace. Yet this fire type is no match for Incineroar, the Flare, and she swaps it out again, this time for Solaris' Garchomp, who is intimidated by Commissioner. And, with their sacrifice, this beast then falls to Haze the Ninetales once more, bringing back the Ninetales, who traps me in a cycle that I repeat about 3 times before Lin then brings out Radamus' Gossip Gardevoir, who, despite going Mega, ultimately falls to the Flare, allowing me to clean up the rest of her damaged team, bringing out Lin's ace, the Pulse Abra, that sweeps through my entire team. But Gaiden the Greninja, through his hit-and-run tactics of Shadow Sneak, manages to just barely eke out a victory, defeating the Abra. Or so you'd think, as in the last moments of Abra's consciousness, Lin orders it to teleport both her and I to the massive doorway beneath Reborn's Grand Stairway, the place where I met Solaris for the first time. Upon arriving, Lin slams me into the door, and because the Elite Four handed me all 4 pieces of jewelry, the doorway opens. Lin then claims that soon we shall be free, and leaves me to recover. I heal up my team and pursue her, leading me to the Citadel, the massive tower where I found Adrian and dueled the false Arceus. This is where new worlds are made. I see now. The reason why Adrian was frozen in time was because Zay had entered through a crack in the earth, not the intended doorway. This place was silent when I last came here, but now it's brimming with mystery and energy. Lin assures me that my multitude of questions will never get answered, because why would an adult waste time informing a child, let alone a doll? I enter the Citadel, and as I climb higher and higher, Lin does start to explain. Her power is that of a god, one that has grown alongside her. She wields absolute power, and absolute power will always corrupt. According to her, no one is exempt from this truth because all hearts are dark. No one truly helps after all. Lin understands who she is. She understands what we are. Mother and child. She understands that this world is broken. It's us. And it's time to put it to sleep. Forever. At the top of the Citadel, before a doorway to a new world, I encounter Lin. She regales me with a story of a little girl who was once trapped here. Her only company, an old forgotten meteor of unimaginable power. A little god that she would raise. A little god that would bless her with its power. Absolute power with no limits. But so much power was so boring and dangerous. To this end, the girl needed an opponent. Me. The one who will either end this game or prove it meaningless. Lin tells me to step through the doorway to the new world. She won't battle me. I can't challenge her. I can't leave. I can only go through this doorway. Why? Because, according to Lin, I need to know what happens next. And she's right. The stage of our final battle isn't in Reborn. No, it's in the world beyond. In a place where the old world may die and a new one can be born. A place where absolute corruption will be answered. A place where I'll oppose Lin. A place where I'll win. Chapter 8, Childish Battle. The real battle against Lin begins. Both of us are at level 100 with diverse teams. However, I'm at the clear disadvantage. Still hot off fighting through the entire Elite Four, now in the new world, with this unique field effect that Lin uses to her full advantage. This is her team. It is oppressive and outclasses mine in raw stats. On top of that, the new world distorts gravity and is still forming, so weather like hail and other field effects don't work. Neither does earthquake, and dark type moves are supercharged. The greatest threat on her team is easily her Honchkrow. It is nigh unkillable with Roost, Brave Bird, and Sucker Punch on top of having Moxie. Plus, Lin always switches the bird out, so it's a near constant presence. But Honchkrow is the exception, not the rule. Full offense is my key to victory. So when our battle starts, I wasted no time in obliterating her lead Miss Magius with an infinity-powered Darkest Lariat. I chipped down her Honchkrow and then sent in the flare to force her to switch out, using Outrage on the poor shiny Flygon who switched in, allowing me to create a loop where Esperoba and the flare would switch in and out until we created the opportunity to kill it. Bringing Honchkrow back where again I looped it until the bird switched out to bring in Hydreigon, who was brought right when my girl Commissioner launched a full power close combat that wiped out half its HP, allowing Esperoba and the flare to tag team the dragon and whittle it down through the use of Fake Out, bringing back the bird, who left after another loop to bring out Clefable, who I could only hope to heal stall through, because with a super cosmic power thanks to the field, max IVs and EVs in every stat, and the move Wish, there was no other option but to persevere through it, until the monster had no more attacks and burned to death in the void of space. That then brings out Honchkrow, who then got swapped out for Celesteela, who against a fire type couldn't do a single thing other than get fire punched to oblivion, allowing me to finally engage Honchkrow after so much pain, where the flare, in a battle of endurance, eventually wore out all of the Roost PP, allowing the flare to secure my victory after 30 minutes of battle. At her defeat, Lin says she's waited so long, others have come, yet she threw them aside because she felt nothing for them. Not pity, not pride, nothing. All she has ever wanted was the power to hinder dreams. There is no life for Lin to live. She admits she's lost, and she is lost. With that, she tells me to go, claim my prize, and savor it, while she will remain a shell of a person she once was to suffer. Lin's been destroyed. What? What's going on?
Just look at that stupid look on your face. Did the big brave hero really think he's done? What's going on? What's this confusion ending? But aww, you're so cute standing up there like you already won, waving your toy sword like some kind of plastic knight. Hey, you know what's funny? You! Oh, I just wish I could see the look on your face. Honestly, this whole deal is almost worth it. Just for that face! You don't even have a plan now. You just walked into the middle of nowhere. Literal nowhere. With no way of ever getting back. Couldn't be better if I had written it myself. Oh, wait! But hey, since you're here, I've got some fun facts for you. Did you know that there's only oxygen in this world because I want there to be? That's right! Did you know that I could kill you at any moment just by creating an empty vacuum? That's right. Thanks for your help opening the seal. But now that it's open, I don't even want to leave, and you can't make me. Plus, I don't have to keep spouting all that cryptic, edgy nonsense. Did you really think I was serious? Absolute corruption must always be answered and blah blah blah. Yeah, right. So you get it, right? You wanna get in my way, right? But I won't let you. You might have gotten close, but there's no concept of space in this world. The real me is an infinity away, and you can't catch me. I have so much more I wanna play. The patterns things fall into when they break. The faces people make when they're desperate. Who would get tired of that? So, bye-bye, Oxygen. Bye-bye, Edwin. I'll miss you. Sort of. Not.
No!
Excuse me?
I said no! This isn't how it was supposed to go. This isn't what I wished for. This isn't what everyone wished for. With what little power Nostra has left in this reality, there isn't much we can do. But everyone placed their faith in me, and everyone placed their faith in Edwin. Listen!
This speaker, no rather, I myself have yet to learn how to truly acknowledge and deal with the spectrum of emotions available to the human mind, but I accept that they are inextricably there. This one, at last, can be identified as hope.
Everything has the ability to change. Let's count on doing so now.
Don't tell me that things aren't going well. How do you expect me to stay on the winning side if you go and lose now? That Cal isn't going to slap me straight off the mountainside regardless if I step out of line.
Champion! If you're out there, then make no mistake. This is your moment to shine. Take everything the future has for you in hand once and for all.
You really think Edwin's gonna give in to something like that? I don't think he even knows the meaning of quitting.
Shh. So, that loser's still floundering around out there. Get it together already. Anyone who beats me like that should have no trouble wiping the floor with someone like her. You and I both know you got this, so don't even act like you don't.
This is the power of everyone's wish. With the strong bonds that we've forged since this all began. We won't let this world burn out yet. Lin's not the only one with the power to change the world. If Nostra's strength isn't enough, then I'll become the vessel for everyone's hope. Even if it takes so much energy that this reality rejects me too. We'll reshape the world so that Lin can finally be defeated. And so that Edwin can live on for everyone's victory. This is your moment. For once and for all, do it!
Everyone, every single one of you.
Oh my god. Are you really going to overcome the impossible with the power of friendship? How cliche can you get? Obviously Anna wouldn't do something stupid like that. Didn't I tell you in the first place that friends don't help?
No, you're wrong.
Oh, but she can't hear me now, can she? She's gone now, isn't she?
What?
Oopsies.
No.
Don't look at me like it's my fault. She chose to use so much power to bend reality. Imagine that! Having to try! You know, things like that, altering reality, they just come naturally to me now. When I first found Puppy Arceus, even his powers weren't fully developed, but now he can do anything I want. Isn't that right, Puppy? See, isn't he beautiful?
What did you do to him?
I just wanted him to be different. You know why? Because he's mine, and he's going to be the best puppy. We both know he's better this way. Why would he even want to be just like all the rest of them? Cause you know what? I'm here for the same reason you are.
The same reason?
Because it's fun. It was a game. And if it wasn't fun, even you still wouldn't be here, right? It wasn't too hard, right? And why do you think that was? What? Just because you're the chosen one, like some kind of main character or some garbage like that? I mean, sure, maybe Anna gave you plot armor or something stupid like that, but who do you think made it so you could win in the first place? You didn't have to get any critical hits. And isn't it convenient that every area you prance through just happens to have a way out? Who do you think put all those light shards around? I'm not saying everything you've done has been worthless or whatever. I'm just saying a little appreciation would be nice. We've been playing this game together since the very beginning. You get it, right? A silent protagonist like you, just a vessel for someone else to play with. And that someone else, don't say it's a Zamen or something stupid like that.
Yeah, that's me. A Zamen. It is stupid.
So you get it, right? Why trying to beat me is useless, because if you beat me, then what's gonna happen to you? No one to play with. Uh-oh. Guess the game's over. Gotta go home, and no one wants it to be over. If you really did, you'd just walk away right now, but you won't. Eyes glazed over, mouth open. What is she even saying? You only want the game to end when someone else is responsible for it, right? These are just words you decided to sit through, right? Until the next time you are actually prompted to do something for real.
No, you're wrong, but you're right, but you don't get it. I mean, how could you? Yes, I started this for fun. I've enjoyed it, but I made these decisions of my own will, my choice. I could have stopped whenever I wanted to, and there were plenty of times where I wanted to quit. Kiki, Saphira, Solaris on Mount Pyrus, Elias, Samson, Amaria. So many times where, when faced with the impossible, I didn't want to continue. Hell, I dragged my own friends into this experience, and they all of them had the brains to stop playing. But I kept going. Not because I'm some sick bastard who wants to see how bad it'll get. Not because I love pain. No, I kept going because I was captivated. I wanted to learn more about the people of Reborn. I wanted to explore and be carried away by the sense of adventure. Talking to every single person. Walking into every building. That was my fun. Well, your fun. Your fun. It's just hurting others. We aren't the same. Yes, we both interacted in this world through a puppet. Me through Edwin and you through the fake Lin. But your original goal was never to have fun. No, it was escape. That's why you set this whole game up. But now, all you want to do is hurt as many people as you possibly can. So, understand this. I grew to care, and because I care, I want to see an ending. I do. I want to see an ending where all of these characters can smile and move beyond their misery. So for that reason, for this 1 in a million opportunity, I have a really fun fact for you.
What?
I'll be granting your wish. You won't leave this place. You won't hurt anyone else. Because I'm going to stop you. Get ready, Lin. This ends now!
Fine, if you insist. If you really want to end the game so badly, we can still play with Arceus a whole lot more. Here, puppy, go get him!
At those words, my final battle began. Everything had led up to this. One last struggle, one final push in the depths of nowhere against a god in chains. An impossible task, but one that I would give my all, because there is no turning back. In all prior battles, whenever I lost, it would be a reset. But for this battle, if I were to reset, I would lose. This is a 1 in a million opportunity to finally defeat her. If I were to fail here, I would not get a second chance. There wouldn't be one. The battle would simply end after I defeated her puppets. Truly, there is only now. Arceus, powered by the Arc Pulse, is nigh insurmountable, with base stats at nearly 1000, and an ability that changes its type every turn. Barely anyone on my team can survive a hit, let alone even hope to damage it. Yet, that won't stop me, because there is a single thread to victory. Protect, intimidate, switching, and healing. Lin's goal throughout her whole speech was to break my spirit and make me want to give up or to motivate me enough to attack recklessly. But no, my sole thread to victory is to outlast her, to persevere and endure. However, the truth of the matter is, in the end, I couldn't beat Lin, because she had secured her own downfall.
Huh? Really? Arceus lost? Don't tell me I messed with you too much. Hey, wake up! You're supposed to be a god, right? So why are you making your own toy turn against us? Stop it, okay? That's not fun anymore. If we're going to play this game, then you need to listen to me. So just listen and behave and it'll be okay, right? You're mine and you always will be. We take care of each other like people are supposed to, right? We'll always have each other. Forever, right? Oh, so that's how you felt. Then, you're just like me after all.
Bringing an end to Pokémon Reborn as the credits begin to roll. This is a very good game. I need that to be clear. It is exceptional how much they fit into this game despite us being at around 3 hours of video. Cause there is so much I could not cram in, but hey, these 3 hours summarized my 90 hours of gameplay and plot, and I think that's pretty impressive. The battles in Reborn are top notch and so many are such good puzzles, because you are just trying to find the strategy that works. Though at times this may hinder someone's enjoyments because it might mean you can't use your favorites. Like, my friend Maya could not use a Garbodor no matter how hard she tried. Plus, the difficulty ain't for everyone. I got quite a few of my friends to play the game, and out of all of them, only one has beaten the game alongside me. It's a pretty big investment, but if you're willing to suffer through it, I think it is very worth it. Additionally, like I said in my speech to Lin, I love the exploration in Reborn. The world feels so big yet so connected. Learning to navigate each district of Reborn City will always be amazing, and the puzzles that you have to navigate through are so fun. Unless it's in Victory Road, but that's mainly cause I was super invested in the plot. I wanted to stop Lin, I really did. I hope that last voice acted section really showed it, and I still haven't played the post game. I beat the game back in December of 2024. Yeah. Also, one note, all the choices I made in-game were not made with a guide. Very clear, were not. I just answered them based on how I felt, which led me to the true ending, or the Ana route as it's apparently called, which does feel pretty sick. Now that I've sung some praises, let me go over a few gripes with the game. Number 1, it can feel really long. Specifically dungeons and even dialogue. Like, okay, listen, my favorite Pokemon game is Sun and Ultra Moon. I don't mind reading in my Pokemon, but there are moments where they just do not stop yapping. Like after the Glass Factory Gauntlet, when I was sent to the Void, they just kept going. The Void was long. The talks before the Void were long. All of the twists and explanations after I got out of the Void were long. It was like half an hour. However, I will admit this did feel worse because that happened at like 2 in the morning. That might have had... So, yeah, I probably just really wanted to go to bed. However, even the real Lin showed up to make fun of it, so I think I've got a point. On a different note, there's also a lot of characters. A lot of characters I do like, but also a lot of characters. Now, I did remember to learn almost all of them because I can associate each of them with a tough battle. But you, my dear viewer, do not have that luxury. So I hope you were able to keep track of things, or at least enjoyed the video enough to stick around. There are so many characters I wanted to talk about, like Bennett, who I really like. I just thought it'd be really funny to not mention him at all. Plus, I wasn't able to get into the whole nitty-gritty about Florinia's arc. Shelly got shafted, and my main man Cal was a footnote. I struggled with this video being 3.5 hours long. I could not imagine making it 5 hours long. Now, I am going to make a follow-up video about my overall thoughts on Reborn, where I'll probably also rank the characters too while I'm at it, because I know I keep stressing it, but the video is long enough. Now then, final thought, Pokemon Reborn is worth it. There is still so much more content, like an entire post-game adventure about every single legendary, and I promise I will document that at a later time. I just really want to delete all the Reborn footage I have on my laptop. It is like 100 gigabytes. My SD card is only 250, okay? Before I end the video, I also want to say that this was a super massive project, and it's one that I am very glad I got to make. I officially started back in October of 2024, playing Reborn with the intent to make this video. Now I beat the game on December 25th, and it took until late August of 2025 to be completed. Now that it's done, is this video perfect? No. There's quite a few things I'm not satisfied with, as you can probably tell. The audio at the end is a lot better. I'm not gonna go back and re-record everything else. That would be hellish. However, I put so much effort into this, and I really hope that shows. I even got Strawberry Sana to voice Lin for the conclusion, and she killed it. I asked my friend Lexi to voice Anna, and she did amazingly. I asked some of my friends to voice characters during the whole Power of Friendship speech. I was so happy while editing. That was really cool. The art I got commissioned for the thumbnail and the final battle against Lin was commissioned. I hired the artist AL3W49, or AL for short. They made the wonderful Objection Zamen and Lin. Plus, my friend Dolly Rabbit made this wonderful Froakie themed trainer, Zamen. So finally, if you enjoyed the video and stuck around this long, subscribe. Please do. I am only gonna get better at making these videos. Also, hiya. I know you're watching. I know what you did.